Hello everyone, thanks for joining the tour today, and we're going to be taking a look at the newly renovated bungalows, or otherwise now known as the cottages, which we've gone through about half of them so far. And we're looking at cottages number 4 and 8 at this time, and this is just a view of the balcony. We changed the entrance from being in the middle, and so if you are familiar with the property, there used to be an entrance for 2 rooms in one of these bungalow housing structures, and now each bungalow, each room has their own entrance to the side and a little bit more privacy as well, because we split the balconies. So you don't necessarily have to talk to the neighbor if you don't want to, but you can of course go around if you would like. And moving into the room itself, these are brand new beds and frames and new design with the throw pillows and the standard pillows in the back there. And then you can also see the kitchenette unit that we renovated, and we'll get to in a second. Also, we added a working desk with a charging station, so you have USB and also Type-C there as well, right below the television. And that's for anybody who wants to get some work done, especially those work from home people. And this is a wider view of the room, and I just want to make note of the AC, because these used to be fan cooled rooms, and now we got rid of the louver windows, and so now it's completely sealed up, if you will, with, as far as the windows go, brand new windows. And also want to bring attention to the ceilings. So the ceilings used to be flat, and now we brought them up to an apex to give a little bit more room and make it feel a little bit more spacious, but still maintain the coziness. And also bringing some more attention to the far right corner of the kitchenette that we have, and we'll get to that in a second, and also the newly renovated bathroom. So we basically gutted this entire place. Even the floor tiles are brand new as well. And this is another angle of the bed, and just want to bring some attention to the LED bed frame, as well as the embedded nightstands and lamps, and another view of the kitchenette, I should say. And as you can see, it has basically all the utensils and tools that you might need to cook a meal. Included is a mini fridge there down on the left, and a hot plate, coffee maker, ice bucket, all the knives and utensils that you may need to feed a small family. Not necessarily Thanksgiving dinner, but you can definitely chef it up in there, especially if you're staying for an extended period of time. This might be a perfect type of accommodation for you. And that essentially is the kitchen. And now moving on to the bathroom. And as I mentioned before, like floor to ceiling, new floor tiles, new ceiling tiles. Got the LED frame around the mirror just to give a little bit more lights. We changed out the square louver windows for the ship window, I guess you can call it. And we got the rainfall shower head and the glass frame shower door. Even the towel holders, those are all new. And again, trying to bring together everything in the room, the kitchenette, and to complete the cottage experience, if you will. So very happy and proud of how this was done, and really wanted to give a modern look and feel to this new room category, the cottage. And so also with this wider angle, want to bring attention to the closet. So you got some drawer space there, and you got some hanging space as well, and your safe, of course, and the ironing board is on the other side in between the closet and the window there. And yeah, another angle of the room, and also want to bring attention to that long standing mirror there, so full frame mirror. And that essentially is the bungalow, and this is kind of our way of paying homage to my dad and where he started from with this. Hello and welcome. If this is your first time visiting, a special welcome to you. We got a special feature today. We are doing a driving tour of Negril, Jamaica, particularly focusing on the West End. And this is a bit of a long video. It's about 40 minutes. And depending on where you're watching it, this will be in different parts or one long video. My name is Winthrop Wellington, by the way, and here on my channel, we really discuss all things Jamaica. But today, as I mentioned, we're going to be doing a bit of tour of Negril, and we're just going to flow with it. And see where this takes us. So we are starting this tour off on Norman Manley Boulevard, otherwise known as the Beach Road at Travelers Beach Resort, which is my family's hotel. And of course we gotta wait for the traffic, but across there on the left side of your screen, that is our NEAT Resource Center, or the Negril Education Environment Trust Resource Center. NEAT is my family's nonprofit organization, which focuses on education for young people. So right now we're heading south on Norman Manley Boulevard. Pretty beautiful day, as you can see. I don't know what the temperature was when we filmed this, but it was nice. It was a nice day. And so we're heading towards downtown Negril, and on your left is the shared user path. So that's running, walking, biking, and that goes for a little bit over 2 miles. To your right is the Negril Beach Park. It has a basketball court and the beach, of course, and just really open space. Unfortunately, it's closed right now. They have plans to do some refurbishing. And then we just passed the Negril Community Center. And then we're also passing the craft market on your right side. And this is the South Negril River and Bridge. And we're heading to the Negril roundabout. Of course, going into the roundabout, you have to give way, and if you're in the roundabout, you have the right of way. And we are going west end, so we're going to be taking a right here at the roundabout and veering left. And so here downtown, this is a few shopping centers, if you will. There's Little Caesars Pizza on the right, Popeyes, Burger King. There's a Digicel store down here as well. And on the left coming up is Scotiabank, which some people might be familiar with depending on where you are from, but it's a Canadian bank. And I guess officially this is where the west end of Negril starts. And on your left here is Corner Bar, which is a pretty popular restaurant. Great local food. Haven't had it in a while, but the reviews continue to be very good. And on the left, that's Bender's Plaza. That's the Negril Chamber of Commerce owned plaza. And on the right, obviously, we have the sea. Unfortunately, I don't think we panned right, but you basically can see the entirety of Negril on the right-hand side if you were to look right. You need to get a 360 camera next time, right? Anyway, on the left is the Negril Post Office. Not in the greatest of shapes, but that is our post office. And then right after that is Samuel's Hardware on the left. And that's, I would say, probably the most popular hardware store in Negril. Mostly every business uses them. And then on the left, the green building, that's Quality Traders. That's where I do my grocery shopping. Been going there for years. And then we're coming up on the, I guess what used to be the High-Low Value Master NCB Plaza, but NCB and High-Low moved. So that's no longer there, and that place is being refurbished. And this is called Church Corner. As we move through the West End. Just cruising. And this is the Negril Library on the left, and then followed by Negril All Age School. And then this is another hardware store on the left. Hope you guys are enjoying this so far. I'm just flowing with it, and as I see things, I'm going to point them out to you. On the right is the Negril Yacht Club, which is for sale. Hopefully, should be doing a video on that hopefully sometime soon. Canoe Bars on the right. It's pretty much the only property on the West End that has a beach. Good food there. Haven't been there in a while either, but their food is pretty good. That used to be German bar, but I don't know what it is now, but boats used to pull up there. They used to have really good pizza. This used to be Boat Bar on the right, but it changed into something else. I'm not sure what it is now. And then Millard is on the left, and if you know Millard, that's 24 Hours Place. Good food as well. And then Patsy's is on the right, so they do, I think it's basically the only standalone coffee shop in Negril. And they do good pastries, good lunch. I did a live stream from there and also did a video with them as well for the channel, which was cool. This is Ocean Cliff on the right we just passed. I did the farewell dinner there for Throp-X 2022. Beautiful property, formerly known as the Spa Retreat. But beautiful property, great food that we had there for the farewell dinner retreat. And here on the West End, like, it's a very different experience than the beach. As you can see, like, it's very, it's I wouldn't say secluded, maybe too strong of a word, but definitely when you're on the properties, it's a little bit more secluded and separated as compared to the beach, where there's just more traffic and no real, I guess, super separation between the properties. And really talking in terms of traversing. So to go from property to property here, you actually have to come out the property and walk along the roads here, whereas like the properties on the beach, you can either walk on the beach and go from property to property, or the road, if you will. And if you're across the street from the beach, then we have the shared user path, depending on where the property is. Now we are passing Samsara, which is friends of the family, another good small hotel in Negril. Sorry about that wind sound. I didn't anticipate that, but that just makes sense, just coming from the camera. This is Kaiser's. This was used to be a very famous place for shows back in the day, before my time. Coming up on the left and the right here is Extabi, great seafood place. Haven't been there in a while, but do enjoy their food. Great lobster during a lobster season. Three Dives coming up on the right here. Very, very popular restaurant, local restaurant. Great jerk chicken, jerk food in general. They were actually on the Amazing Race, if I'm not mistaken. Almost certain of that. Nice view here of the sea. We're passing Pushcart on the right, which borders its sister property, Rock House, one of my favorite restaurants in Negril. They also have an award-winning spa, one of my favorite spas in Negril, as a matter of fact. And haven't been there in a while. When I say a while, like a few months, but I'm a regular customer there for sure. They do excellent job. Very technical, and I guess you can call me bougie when it comes to massages, but I know what I like and I know what I want, and they do a fantastic job there. That's Corosi's Cliff we just looked at. And as you can see, we're literally just riding the coast here. The only thing separating us from the coast is the property. So this is as close as we can get in a vehicle. And I'd say like this is pretty typical in terms of traffic on the West End. It's not really a crowded place. The roads are narrow, but it's relatively safe as far as traffic goes. I guess because it's like so windy, you're forced to slow down, and also there are just not a lot of cars there. I bike here, I run here as well, and I like it a little bit better than the beach in the sense of there just not being that many cars passing and driving towards you. It's La Mirage Hotel. That's the sister property to Shirella Inn. Both great small properties, locally owned. Seems like I'm driving fast, but I don't think I'm driving fast. These properties are just like whizzing by. There's Ivan's, otherwise known as Catch a Falling Star. Again, one of my favorite restaurants, I would say, too. Highly recommend them. They do really good stuff, great service and great food. Coming up here on the right, this is the world famous Rick's Cafe, where you can do cliff jumping if you are brave enough, but it's definitely, I would say, the most popular place, bar in Negril, place to go in Negril. LTU, that's a popular expat bar. And they do their famous Halloween party every October as well. Never been, but I hear stories. I hear it's a lot of fun. The little girl saying hello. Right, we are going deeper into the West End. We're almost in deep West End, but not quite there yet. Coming up on the right is the Caves, which is known as a very exclusive property. A lot of celebrities have been there and stayed there before. I actually went there for dinner the other day, which was very nice, good food. We had dinner in the Cave. And this is our famous lighthouse. Unfortunately, it has been privatized, so from what I understand, there's no more tours to the lighthouse, which is unfortunate. I've never been. It's just like one of those things you just take for granted. You're like, oh, you'll get there sometime, and the next thing you know, somebody buys it and you can't go in. But it's still an important part of Negril nonetheless. Then on the right is Whoopi's, which was just a famous chill-out spot back in the day, particularly during the spring break heyday in the late 90s, early 2000s. Now you could either go right or go left, and we're going to go right. Down to the left is the Negril laundromat, and then right here, I guess this officially starts the Deep West End. And I like the Deep West End. It's a very different feel from even the West End, the regular West End, if you will, and a very different feel, more so from the beach road. That's a villa there. I forget the name of it, but we've done a few events there for guests at Travelers. Beautiful villa. I want to say, like, some of the most beautiful properties are on the West End, but also the Deep West. Some of the most beautiful properties in Negril. This is the Cliff Hotel on the right side. I think this is the most beautiful property in Negril. Honestly, like, it's just gorgeous. I was there for dinner the other day, a few weeks ago, as a matter of fact. But really beautiful property. And for whatever reason, every time I've been there, there's like nobody there. But I think they focus more on groups than anything else. But I really don't know their business model. But great hotel, great for dinner as well. Highly recommend them as well. Service is great as well. On top of their cuisine. So these roads are not the best, and you can imagine biking here. So you got to take it easy. But as you can see, a little glimpse on the right side of your screen, the views here are just amazing, and I've seen some of the most beautiful sunsets back here. And I've said this on the channel before. I think this is a great place to invest now, especially, like, I know there's a lot of people who want sea view or ocean front, and to get that on the Negril Beach Road is going to be very expensive. You know, we're probably talking, at least at this time, what I understand, like depending on the property, $1 million to $1.5 million US per acre. And that might be on the conservative side, to be honest. And again, depending on where it is and what property. Whereas here, I wish I could speak to what you'd pay per acre here, but it's significantly less. It's a lot less developed. But as you'll see as we drive through here, there is a lot of development happening, at least more activity than I've ever seen in recent times. And the types of development that I'm seeing here is mostly villas. And to me, this is like the perfect location, perfect row, if you will, for villas. Treasure Beach has a very similar setup, and there's a part of Treasure Beach where it's just villa after villa after villa after villa. And you're already having elements of this along this Deep West End road here. And I think it's perfect, right on the water, just amazing views. I wish we could have got out and shown you, but if you can just imagine, just past these gates, these houses, on the other side, you have just endless views of the sea. And depending on how deep you go, you can actually see the coastline, like looking left and right as you go out to the water. So this is an example of a recently built villa. I don't know the name of it, I don't know the owner, but it's very beautiful. I've seen pictures on Facebook as well. I was actually flying my drone for this property here on the left, somewhere west. We're doing a video for them and working with the owner to help her sell that property. But when I was looking at the drone and looking at that property, it's just really beautifully built, super modern. And again, to me, this is like the perfect location to do accommodations just like that. Or maybe not accommodations, maybe you want to build your dream home. I think this is the perfect place to do it. You're really by yourself, and we're about a little over 17 minutes in. I would say if there is a negative to being back here, it's that it'll take you about 15 to 20 minutes from downtown to get here. But some people like that. Some people love that, as a matter of fact. And just something to take into consideration. Coming up here on the right, this is actually a hotel that just never got off the ground. Obviously, they got off the ground, so to speak, but just never opened, really, for whatever reason. I think whoever did this had great vision. I think this was an excellent location to put a hotel. And I think it was also, in a sense, before its time. But that hotel is actually for sale, and it's being sold by actually one of our real estate experts, St. Alban Clark. So if you are interested, let me know if you want to find out a little bit more information on that property. We can St. Alban can give you that information. So let me know. Shoot me a DM on Instagram at Throp, THROP, or you can shoot me an email at Throp, THROP, at thropmedia.com. I always like driving down this road. It's like super smooth, and then as we make a right here, I always imagine like kids in high school doing drag racing down here, but they don't do that here, and don't do that. I'm not recommending that at all. But we are, again, deep West End. Beautiful views on, at least here, I like this. And to the left, you have like the mountains, and then deep into the right, you have this sea, just to give you a little heads up on orientation. This podcast is supported by Discovery Water. Whether I'm working or training, I reach for Discovery Water. 100% premium Jamaican spring water. Bottled in glass, no plastic, no gimmicks. Refill, not landfill. Just clean, natural hydration from right here on the island. Happy Sunday, everybody. Good to see you all. Adjust this a little bit. There we go. Happy to be back. I hope you guys have had a great week last week. Hope you're having a good weekend. All good over here. Happy to be back streaming and getting back to the regular program here as usual. Would love to hear where everybody is chiming in from, what city, what state, what country. I'm just keeping adjusting my mic here. All right, I think we're settled here. We got a good show. We're going to be going through kind of a lot of things that are happening in Montego Bay. I know we talk a lot about Montego Bay, especially lately. But I guess the inspiration for today's stream is kind of all of it coming together, if you will, around the same time, meaning like within a 2 to 3 year time span. And I think it's like very, very exciting. And maybe I'm a little jealous in a good way, in a good way, and that we're here in Negril not getting the same attention, so to speak, the same investment. But I think it's fantastic, beautiful, amazing for Jamaica. Happy for Montego Bay, and very excited for them and what's to come. So we're going to be diving into that a little bit, talking about investment stuff, real estate stuff. Of course, I just got back from the UK, when was it, Thursday? And had a great, amazing trip out there. Very short trip, literally 1 week in and out. And I hosted Throp-X London Connect, and it was freaking awesome. Like really, really, really awesome. Shout outs to everybody that came through on Saturday. It was quite the event, you know, and it exceeded my expectations in many, many ways. And I think the word that we can all walk away from, if you attended on Saturday, was synergy. And that's what everybody kept saying over and over about how amazing the synergy was at the event, and the synergy with meeting the different people that were there. And the way I looked at it was that, yes, people came to see me, say hello and that sort of thing. But it honestly, if you were there, it wasn't about me. It really, really wasn't about me. It was more than anything else. It was about everybody meeting each other. And I saw a lot of friendships begin, business relationships start. And it was just so awesome to just kind of stand back a little bit and just see everybody just naturally having conversations, meeting with each other, networking. And it was a great event, very, very well attended. Shout outs to the Folly as well. They were our host. They hosted us completely free of charge. We didn't have to have any minimum spend or pay any venue fee or anything like that. And they were very appreciative of us being there. And it was a beautiful setting. I'm actually going to even show and share with you guys what we have, what the Folly looked like in a second. Oh man. And we'll get into today's topics shortly, but a couple of takeaways from London. One being that I'm definitely doing this next year again. And the demand, I would say, for these types of events was like just palpable. And also a demand for a Throp-X London, like full-on Throp-X event in London. And I think we can pull it off. Rather easily. I don't think I'm being overconfident, but we've been doing this for quite some time. It will obviously won't be the same as Negril. You know, obviously it's very, very different from people coming over to Jamaica, boots on the ground, seeing real estate products, like very, very different. But I think from an education and networking aspect, I think it would be extremely powerful. Like it was so powerful on Saturday, extremely, extremely powerful event. And it was fantastic. So much so it inspired me. I was like, when I left that event, I was like, okay, we're going to do New York. I was supposed to do New York later in the summer into September, but I'm like, let's do in New York in a couple of weeks. So we're going to do New York City Connects August 8th. And if you're in the New York City area and you'd like to attend, we'd love to have you. If you go into the description below, let me see if I can pull it up for you. You can just click the link to sign up, and we're going to do the same version in New York. You know, we're going to do this back to back. And like I said, I could feel the demand for this in London, and I know that it's going to be the same in New York. So let me put that in the comment section here. And so if you're watching it on the replay, it's already in the description below, and just fill out the information, and we're going to your contact information, and then we'll reach out to you with the location. So it's 12 p.m. August 8th at a location in New York. I don't like putting it out there, publicly, so to speak, because I need to know how many people are coming, and I need to control that. And I just don't want any surprises, especially with the venues that we're working with. So encouraging you to sign up if you're in the New York City area, and, holler at the people who are at the UK event and tell you it's well worth it. And it's just so awesome. Always really, really awesome to meet the community in person, so to speak. What other announcements do I got today? Okay, so we got, if you're in the Negril area, there is a concert happening at Sorry about that. So there's a concert at Drifters at 5 o'clock today, and that's with the Alpha School. And if you were on our stream a few weeks ago, we had a virtual tour of the Alpha School a few weeks ago, which was awesome. We did it live, and they're going to be doing a performance today at 5 o'clock, which I'm going to. I'm very excited for that, and to see them. I've seen them live before. I've seen them live before in Kingston, but now to see them here in Negril, I think is going to be really, really special. Really, really special. So that's that. And I'll be sure to announce again later in the stream about New York City on August 8th. All right, let's get to the comments real quick, and then we will get into the topic of the day. What's going on, Sherry? Happy Sunday to you as well. Petula says, hi, Throp. Hope you have a good time in the UK. Sorry, I never got to connect. Next time. We're going to do it next time. Gary, I left a message on the reservation line. Have not received a call back. All right, I'll make sure somebody gets back to you. No problem. Sorry about that. Skeptic Jamaican, happy Sunday to you as well. Thanks for joining. 80s here, happy Sunday. Good to be back. Seeing the transformation of Montego Bay before my eyes, along with big dreams and creativity, great leadership as well. In Mayor Vernon, Yangsen Lee, Jason Russell built it. That's right. We're going to get into some of those very, very shortly. What's going on, Bob? Thanks for hopping on. Diane, hey, Throp and everyone from London, UK. Awesome. London is in the building. Agent 79. Just imagine the massive transformation and the impact to both community and visitors if they would only resurface the road completely and properly rather than patch it up. I do believe that is coming in a big way. I keep saying I think that's this is like a short-term problem. Very annoying, super, super annoying short-term problem. But I think at some point this will be behind us in the biggest of ways. Let's keep rolling here. Jala, hey, hello, Thop. Thank you for driving video. Love it. And I hope you had a great time in London. I did indeed. Poppy Seed needs sidewalks on the West End. Absolutely. I also believe that is coming quite soon. I think I want to say it was approved, if I'm not mistaken. But that is coming. That's coming for sure. CPW, what is going on? Nice to meet you in person, man, in London, and great having dinner with you and your team. I really appreciate it. Thank you for inviting me and my brother out. That was awesome. Awesome. Appreciate you, man. Talwa, hello, Throp and Throppers chiming in from the DMV. Good to have you on. Billy Nottingham in the UK. Thanks for hopping on. Talwa says, I truly appreciate the West End tour. I have never driven that far. I have no idea. Past Rick's Cafe, which cafe look like Past Rick's Cafe, excuse me. Now I need to go explore when I'm there next. Absolutely. I think there's a lot, some activity going on back there. Let's say that. Anik, what's going on? Nice to have you on as usual. Elena Falayan, let's call you Dara. Let's keep it simple. So much space for housing, or is it farmland? Talking about the tour No, you could do farming back there in Deep West End, but I think there's a great potential with, especially with villa type structures back there. I think that is just so naturally, beautifully set up for just low density housing back there. I mean, I guess you could do like apartment buildings too, for sure. But along that cliffside, the villas there are absolutely beautiful, and I think there's great opportunity for that. And I also want to say that that road, the Deep West End Road, has been resurfaced. It is the newest road in Negril right now, and it's really really good. I forget how many kilometers it is, but it's much better than what you were experiencing with me in that video. That's a bit of an old video, but the West End is the West End. Josh, what's going on, man? Thank you again, you and your brother, for coming out on Saturday. It was always great to connect with you. I keep saying we can get you on the pod at some point. You guys are doing some really big and exciting things. It's here. First they transform Obey, then Negril will get the attention it needs. There are big plans for the weekend. Will Negril be ready? Will it ever be the same? Okay, you're talking about emancipation and independence coming up next week. And yeah, that's definitely a change for sure. I interviewed a couple of the promoters, last Thursday, 2 Thursdays ago, sorry. 2 or 3, I can't remember, as everything's coming together. But anyway, they're doing basically replacing what Dream Weekend was doing here in Negril. And it's such an interesting time, and that also plays into the Montego Bay discussion that we're going to have shortly here, in that it's so many big changes are coming to Montego Bay. And Dream Weekend, for those that don't know, Dream Weekend is this multi-day festival that used to take place here in Negril. This is where it was birthed, and it was such a calendar staple for us in between emancipation and independence, and just brought in thousands and thousands of people from all over the island, all over the world, as a matter of fact. And this was something that us as a Negril community, from an economic injection standpoint, could rely on year after year after year. Of course, it came with its challenges with road traffic and logistics and all of that sort of thing. But I think ultimately it was a net positive for Negril. And this is the first year, I believe, in 16 years that it's not going to be here in Negril, and is going to be hosted in Montego Bay. And like I said, I think it's going to be interesting both for Negril and for Montego Bay. The events here in Negril is being replaced with a few local promoters here from the West. And it's a 10-day event, and they're doing multiple events each. I think they're doing one daytime, one nighttime event, if I'm not mistaken. And it kicks off next Friday. Let me see if I get that right. Next Friday, the 31st, it kicks off. And so excited to see what happens, excited to see how it goes. Obviously, wishing them all the luck in the world. And they seem very well prepared and very excited and very optimistic about it. And I think it's just a great opportunity. I'm glad they didn't lay down, and promoters didn't lay down. It's like, oh, we lost Dream Weekend, or Negril, and it didn't lay down and just kind of just left it open. And a gap was created, and they're filling that gap. And I think it's going to be great. As for Montego Bay and Dream Weekend, also wishing them the absolute best. I think it's going to be very interesting for them in terms of it being just a completely different beast, completely different layout. And they're obviously doing the multiple events. I think they're doing 2 events per day kind of thing. If they're going with the same kind of scheduling they've done in the past. I've seen some of the venues that they're going to be hosting. It's going to be very different, and I think it's going to be awesome. And I think it's going to be awesome for Montego Bay as well. And if anybody could pull something off like that in Montego Bay, in a bigger city, bigger town, so to speak, it's going to be the Dream Weekend crew. And it's going to be interesting. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes for both entities, both locations. But to have this, who knows how big Negril is going to be? I have no clue. I have no clue. I don't have my finger on the pulse. We already know what Dream Weekend can pull off and what they can do. So it's going to be exciting to see. We'll kind of see where the dust settles in just a couple short weeks, as a matter of fact. Poppy says, what happened to the proposed Negril Paradise Integrated Resort and Marina, a massive coastal development? There was a big groundbreaking. Sure. I mean, quite frankly, I've said it here before. I just never took that thing seriously at all. I guess he's the chairman, CEO. He's been on this live stream before. You can go back and look at that and watch it, and you can take what you will from that. And yeah, never really took that project seriously. I talked to some of the would-be main players, if you will, that were semi-involved. I'm not going to say they were involved, but they were in the ecosphere, so to speak, and they were just like, no, just leave it at that. So who knows what happens, but that's what I'm going to leave right there. Anik, it would be great to come to Montreal. I could connect you with the Jamaican Association of Montreal. What would be the demand for Montreal? Like, I've been looking at Toronto to do a Throp-X Connect there, and I don't know if I mentioned this. I could be just talking in my own head, but I'm good. Oh yeah, I did. Sorry, doing like we're gonna do like a full-on Throp-X event in London for sure, and I think we're gonna do one in New York as well next year. And so I already put out a survey for the people who attended London Throp-X London Connect last Saturday. So if you haven't filled that out, could you please fill that out? That would like really help us to start planning it. But essentially, we're looking at either a 1 or 2 day event. And my plan would be to bring developers with me to this event, and the real estate opportunities to say, let's stick with London, to London. Obviously, I can't bring the land and the buildings with me, but the people who represent the land and the buildings, I think I can bring them with me, and we can learn about different opportunities. And I will also try to bring these off-market opportunities to you as well, right? So let's use the Oasis, for example, right? That was an off-market, pre-market opportunity that the only way you could have really found out about it if you were watching my channel, you were on the live stream, or you watched the video, the Oasis video. And there are more opportunities like that coming down the pipeline that you're just not going to see it on MLS. You're probably not going to see it with any real estate agency or anything like that. This is all pre-market stuff, and this is how you get really the lowest prices that you can get, and you're just getting, let's call it pre-IPO, if you will. You know, that I think those are the best types of deals. I look at it like me and my brothers were, I don't even know if this is gonna sound like we're bragging, but anyway, we were with like, this is the first time I ever done anything like this, but we were like pre-IPO with Robinhood, right? And like, that's like crazy to get into something like that, right? You only, in my mind, like only select type of people have access to that type of information, or to that type of investment opportunity. And that's kind of the way like these Oasis deals are positioned. Even going to like something like Coral Seas, if you weren't at Throp-X 2023, you could never be a part of the Coral Seas deal. Like, you had to be there. And same thing with Throp-X that we did in May. You're not gonna, you won't be privy to these deals unless you're there. You got to be in it to win it. New York City lottery, right? And so the same thing is going to go for Throp-X in November. Like, we're already lining up opportunities that you're just not going to find anywhere else, and it will be for the people who are coming. And then if there's anything left over, we open it up to the wider market. And which I think is fair. You know, I think that's fair. You know, you have investors that are willing to take a risk in the early stage, and they should be rewarded for that risk. I mean, again, Coral Seas is a great example. I mean, the valuations on some of those units have more than doubled in less than 3 years. And I believe the same thing is going to happen with Oasis as well. You know, you coming in at like a 140, a pre-construction, pre-renovation. And easily, I mean, I think I'm lowballing it, but I think when that is done in September 2027, that thing is going to be like 225. I think very, very easily. I think I'm going to be lowballing it. And I'm talking about like, we're in 15 months, that valuation increase. And then imagine over the years what that's gonna turn into. And then they're actually doing more development to the property because they have an additional 2 acres that are undeveloped. So that's also going to increase the valuation of the units there. So that's 140 and 160,000 to get in those units, which can't believe I almost forgot this. There are a few units that have actually opened up because remember the owners had kept back, the developers had kept back, I think like 11 or 12 units for themselves. So 6 of them have opened up. I don't know if there are people still interested. I was going to email. I know people who are talking to me at Throp-X London Connect about who are interested in Oasis. If you are interested, what's the best way to do this? Email me throp@thropmedia.com, and I'm going to put you directly in touch with the developers right away. Throp@thropmedia.com, or you shoot me a DM on Instagram. I'm just going to put you right in touch with them, and I'm going to send an email out probably on Tuesday about that. If anybody's interested, they opened up 6 more units for that. If you're interested in the Oasis, I'll show you the Oasis video shortly. People asking me about where is the Oasis. I'll show you in a second. Let me just get through the comments and I'll show that video, the intro trailer real quick. When we be doing Toronto, I'm supposed to be doing Toronto the 8th, but logistics aren't lining. The 7th, excuse me, but logistics aren't lining up. We're gonna have to push off Toronto for right now. Hopefully that we could do it at the end of the summer or maybe sometime in September. Mississauga, what's going on? Delroy, how connecting in Toronto? We're gonna do it. We're gonna do Toronto. I know there's a big following there. I know it's huge. We're gonna get there at some point. We will. Agent 7, Belfast, Northern Ireland here. Awesome. Planning to move to Jamaica in December, January. Awesome. Congratulations. Congratulations, Agent 79. CPW, Cousins Cove is the property I mentioned at the dinner. Oh, yes. Okay. So, funnily enough, yes, they're doing. I'm supposed to have a meeting with those folks this week, as a matter of fact. So, we're going to work something out, big development that's happening over there. And I need to educate myself on it, but it looks like a real game changer for Hanover with what's happening over there. Cause I remember like I've been driving to and from the airport and I was like, yo, what's going on over here? And it's that same project, CPW, same project. Kaido, what's going on? Hi, Throp. Glad you enjoyed London. If you come back next year, will it be Throp-X Connect or Throp-X event, but in London? It's going to be a Throp-X event in London for sure. Like full on Throp-X. We're going to rent out a venue, speakers, presentations. I'm going to do my best to bring the Throp-X that I have here in Negril to London. And I plan to, if the demand is there in New York, which I believe it is, I would do one in New York as well. Happy Sunday from Bermuda. Love the great city of London. One can only have a great time there. Montego Bay is my place, though. I hear you. Shensia used to be a bottle girl at Dream Weekend. I did not know that. The more you know, right? Where is Oasis? All right, we're going to play that in a second. Connecticut is in the building. What's going on, Damien? Love listening to you, bro. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you. Patricia, hey, folks. Dialing in from Amsterdam. Awesome. Europe is in the building. And Style Keisha, happy Sunday from Montreal. Thanks for joining. All right, let me show the Oasis video real quick. And I'm going to try. Yeah, and I already put my email address in there. Do I have it here? So we dropped this, what is it, 2-3 months ago? I want to say drop this, like the opportunity, we brought it to the market, and I mean, we were sold out in 36 hours, which was kind of crazy. But here, it's about 2 minutes long.
Welcome to the Oasis.
This is really an investment, I would say, for people who have vision and can really understand what this can potentially turn into. It's not the prettiest site to look at, I think, for most people, but for me, I see tremendous potential and tremendous opportunity for value creation for a lot of people. My name is Winthrop Wellington, and I run this YouTube channel where I help people move to and invest in Jamaica.
This area is where the gym is going to be located, state of the art. This is going to be more casual cafe, more the owners can come and mingle. This is the additional 2 acres for future development. My name is Mara Watson and I'm a realtor in Jamaica. I have been specializing in a lot of hotel condo conversions. I'm here today at Oasis Resort, and this is one of the properties my clients have purchased to convert into a condo property.
My favorite part about the Oasis is really what it represents. It represents the potential of Negril.
I have seen the real estate market change drastically in Negril. The market has gone up tremendously and the demand is huge. The need for housing has really increased.
Right now, there's 57 rooms here that nobody's living in right now today. The windows are blown out, there's no electricity, there's no water. In 15 months from now, there are going to be 57 refurbished rooms that are going to have owners that will have titles for each and every one of these rooms. That is real value for 57 different people, 57 different families that did not exist before.
Definitely the before. You're seeing it raw and you see the pool green, but that will be beautiful and clean within a year.
Doing real estate projects of this nature is risky. Anything can happen.
We're going to bring this back to life. This was quite the place in its time.
I believe this is a representation of the turnaround or the renaissance of Negril. That's also part of the reason why I myself am getting a unit here as well.
So excited to bring this project to the market, and it's going to be affordable. The units are starting at
All right, that's the Oasis. And so, yep, if you're interested and would like more information on the units, out of focus here, on one of the units, hit me up on Instagram at Throp, or shoot me an email, throp@thropmedia.com, and I will get somebody to get in touch with you, one of the developers. All right, cool. Let's get into today's topic. Where do we start? There's so much. All right. So actually there's so much. Yeah, so I'm just like looking at my list here. There's like so much happening, right? All right. Let me build a little context here, right? And with Montego Bay, and I know I've been talking about Montego Bay a lot lately on some of these streams. And I think with Montego Bay, at least my stance with it and like how it's perceived from the public perception, let's say, is that I feel like the public and maybe the international community at large is kind of like underestimating what is about to happen with Montego Bay. And I feel as if, say, 2028, 2029, it's almost going to be like a light switch. Like it's going to almost be like as if Montego Bay was one way one day and the next day it was another way, and for the better. And this is, I would say, from 3 main pillars, right? And so there is the infrastructure pillar really coming from the government, and the spine of it, if you will, being the Montego Bay perimeter road, the bypass road, the highway, whatever you want to call it. We're going to get into that shortly. And that's the first pillar. The second pillar is the hotels, and that are all coming online 2027, 2028. And I forgot, sorry. Another part of the infrastructure pillar is Montego Bay Airport as well, which we'll get into shortly. Moving on to the second pillar, hotels, is the amount of hotels that are going to be coming on board in 27, 28 it's kind of crazy. And there is new build, like these brand new hotels, many of which we've been talking about for many, many months, I think years at this point, as a matter of fact. And then you have the advent of these refurbished existing properties, and that were severely damaged during Hurricane Melissa. And obviously Hurricane Melissa was an extremely devastating natural event that affected many parts of Jamaica. Montego Bay was hit really, really, really badly. I feel like they're kind of forgotten in a way because Westmoreland and St. Elizabeth were took the blunt of it, literally the spear, the tip of the spear of it, and that's where a lot of focus has been. But a lot of the hotels were severely damaged in Montego Bay, and that essentially created an incredible opportunity for them to refurbish, reimagine what their hotels could be like. And we're going to go into some of those, the hundreds of millions of US dollars that have gone into some of these new hotels. And I'm saying that to say that even though they're existing products that have been here already, I feel like they're new products almost in line and on par with the new builds that are coming here that we'll get into shortly. And then the third pillar of that is the new residents that are coming. And we're going to talk about three main ones today in Montego Bay. And I think that speaks to the sustainability of a dollar that we didn't have before, meaning that we're going to be getting Jamaica, that is going to be having a clientele that it has never had before. It just wasn't exposed to from the people who are visiting Jamaica and coming here to vacation. Like we haven't had this type of clientele, at least not at the scale that we're about to have them. I'm sure that, very wealthy, very, very affluent people always come to Jamaica. For sure, we've had that forever, right? But I think now at the scale that we're going to be attracting that level of vacationer is going to be unlike ever before. And so those are the three pillars in which I'm making my point here. As I see your name come up, Josh, me and Josh were having a discussion in London about these new products, and so the residential products specifically, right? And I hope you don't mind me sharing this, Josh, but I think it was an important discussion that we were having in respect to these ultra luxury residents that Jamaica has never had before. And again, attracting a level of clientele that is not vacationing here, that is investing here and will be living here and will be spending their dollars here in Jamaica. And I think it's fantastic. And the concern in the conversation was that level of people coming to Jamaica and living here perhaps, or spending extended periods of time in Jamaica, there are certain amenities that they are used to having and expect to have. And the fact is that Jamaica does not have a lot of those amenities. And in particular, we're talking about the ability to purchase, say, a Rolex or a Ferrari or a Lamborghini, a Bugatti, like all these things, right? And like this, again, this is the level that we're talking about here, where people are going to spend $3 million on a penthouse. That's their third one that they own. And they are going to want to be able to come and enjoy the country, come and enjoy Montego Bay and spend their money. And right. And I agree with that. We do not have that sort of shopping amenity. Imagine going to Jamaica, Montego Bay, having a Louis Vuitton store. Like, are you kidding me? Right now, we don't have it, but I believe that is coming. That has to come. Like that has to complement each other. Looking at even the Hard Rock Hotel, and that's coming in Montego Bay. I believe I have it written down. I think it's 2028 or 2027, late 2027, that will be opening. And that is going to be Jamaica's first full gambling casino. And that's something that those types of people look forward to doing in gambling. And I look at it as like, man, this is going to be a lot of revenue that Jamaica is going to be bringing in from a job standpoint to a tax revenue standpoint. And again, we're right now, currently, we're not attracting that level of traveler, that level of investor, that level of residents. And now we're going to be able to do that with these projects, these projects coming on, the residents coming on, which we're going to be talking about shortly. And I know that we've talked a lot about the Pinnacle here, which we will continue to do. And I think in many ways they have kind of led this ideology in terms of vision and what Jamaica can be and what Jamaica can attract in terms of dollars and in terms of spend. And I think it's amazing. I think it's really, really amazing. Let me hit your comments here real quick. Just as I'd encourage anyone who has business/retail idea to look at Montego Bay. The hotel and residential sector growth is huge, as is the infrastructure improvement, but Montego Bay lacks leisure activities. Tourists and visitors, as well as returning residents/diaspora and locals, are crying out for restaurants, bars, activities, leisure facilities, shops. The demand is there and growing. Totally agree. I think where Jamaica stands, it is an entrepreneur's paradise, especially in pockets like a Montego Bay. I think Negril as well is right for this, and we're definitely earlier than Montego Bay. Like now you come, it's going to be early, but the demand is there. Like Josh is 100% right. Entrepreneur's paradise right now, and it's like my personal opinion is you want to come in before all of this is. Sorry. I was muted. So I was saying that the groundwork for Montego Bay has already been laid, right? And all of these things that we're talking about here today, like this has been 10 plus years in the making, right? I hope you can hear me now. We're back. Okay, got it. Okay. 10 plus years in the making, right? And 28, 29, like things will have settled, right? And I always look at projects, investments, businesses that change the behavior of people in a community or in a city. And because changing behavior is very, very sorry about that. I don't know what's happening. So I look at changing behavior is very, very powerful. And if a business can do like if any force can do that, I respect it, right? And there are several different forces at play that are going by then, that will completely change how the relationship with us as human beings with Montego Bay. And remember, like humans are very habitual. We like being in a rhythm. We like doing the same thing and predictability. And for us to shift from doing something that we've done away for years, our decades, to do another behavior is a powerful thing, right? And so that's gonna happen in Montego Bay. Going back to the infrastructure standpoint, is one of the biggest changes in behavior will again be the the perimeter road, right? And that's going to change how people interact with Montego Bay in the biggest of ways. Let me see if I can bring that up real quick. I think I have a diagram. I hope I have it here. Oh man, I'm just like looking through what I have up. Yeah, I forgot about the hip strip as well. Man, got a lot happening here. There's so much. So anyways, I try to find it. All right, got it. Let me bring this up real quick. All right, so this is from Highway 2000 and ROCC. And so this is the Montego Bay bypass perimeter road, not sure what you want to call it. And this is the red line here is where it goes through. We've done drone shots of this. We've watched videos of this before. I'm going to read through this quickly. And then if you want to look at it yourself and you want to study it, you can go ahead and do that. I'm going to throw it in the comment section for you. Sorry about that. I'm trying to find out what's going on with the internet. So take a look at that. I think it's there. Yeah, so take a look at that. Let's read through it real quick. Montego Bay Perimeter Road Project. The government of Jamaica, through the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, entered a $274 million design, build, construction contract with China Harbor Engineering Company Limited, known as CHEC, for the execution of the Montego Bay Perimeter Road Project. The executing agency of the project is the National Road Operating and Constructing Company Limited, NROCC, on behalf of the MEGJC, and includes the execution of works on the following: Montego Bay Bypass Road, Barnett Street, West Green Avenue road rehabilitation, and includes a rehabilitation and expansion works. Long Hill Bypass to reduce road traffic congestion, and comprehensive drainage study of the Montego Bay bypass area. The aim of the project is the development of an alternative route around the Central Business District, CBD, in Montego Bay to reduce congestion in the city and to spur economic benefit. The project will provide additional capacity to the road network, as well as offer the possibility of opening new areas to development along the corridor. As the only city in the western region of Jamaica, Montego Bay provides major government services to parishes of St. James, in addition to neighboring parishes. The project is listed as one of the top priority development projects of Jamaica. The construction of the MBPRP will be implemented using the design, build, project delivery method. Montego Bay Bypass. The Montego Bay Bypass Road will begin at the intersection of Alice Eldermeyer Drive and Howard Cook Highway. It will proceed west and then turn south around the sewage pond. It will cross Bogue Road at Temple Gallery Road and use the Temple Gallery Road alignment. The alignment will cross Fairfield and follow the west side of the Montego Bay River to the vicinity of Irwin Road. The Montego Bay Bypass will cross the Montego Bay River and turn north and pass east of Cornwall Courts and east of Salt Spring. It will intersect the North Coast Highway in Iron Shore. The overall length of the Montego Bay Bypass Road is approximately 15.1 kilometers. Long Bay Bypass. The Long Bay Bypass. So this is the diagram here. You guys can take a look at it. When you get a chance, I would encourage you to read this as well when you get a chance and look at the diagram. The hill bypass, the Long Hill bypass. The Long Hill bypass component of the project encompasses the construction of approximately 10.5 kilometers of rural arterial highway with climbing lanes and escape ramps where required, leading the Montpelier intersection of B8 Road and B6 Road to Temple Gallery Road. The Long Hill bypass will begin at the intersection of the proposed Montego Bay bypass and the Temple Gallery Clarence Nelson Drive in the vicinity of the Bogue Village and Montego Bay West Village housing estate as an urban intersection with at-grade crossing. Okay, so interesting. So I was kind of looking at this as one big project, but they're separating into two. Interesting. Okay, my mistake. Very cool. The alignment will proceed in a general southerly direction through scrub land towards Bogue Hill, crossing the Ramble Hill Road with a grade-separated overpass. If I am reading and seeing this right, hold on. Long Hill bypass. This must be here, I believe. Okay, let's keep rolling. Barnett Street and West Green Avenue dualization. Barnett Street improvement is the dualization of 1.06 kilometers of existing two-lane road section from the intersection of West Green and Fairfield Road in a northerly direction and ending at Cottage Road. The proposed works will involve the construction of an additional two-lane bridge over the Montego Bay River in the vicinity of Westgate Shopping Center. West Green Avenue improvement is a dualization of the 0.82 kilometer existing link road between Howard Cook Boulevard and Bogue Road. At the Fairfield Road section, the construction will result in the removal of the existing roundabouts and the creation of signalized intersections, construction of sidewalks, concrete median barrier, and drainage improvements. I'm not sure where that is on the diagram, but big things happening. All right. So that is that. And then I want to also bring up, I hope I'm not beating a dead horse here, but let's bring up the map as a matter of fact. I think that's important. Let's bring up the map here. 1 second. All right, so we're going to hop over to Montego Bay. All right, so here it is in real life, so to speak. So this is the perimeter, Montego Bay perimeter road. Right here, just like we saw here, right? Guys, hope you guys are kind of keeping up with me a little bit. And then I'm going to bring it to the live Google map here. Same thing that we're seeing here, right? And so this is Sangster's International Airport, our Montego Bay Airport. And now, normally, we're coming to Negril, that is. We make a right out of the airport and go to this roundabout, which when I was driving back on Thursday, somebody was going the wrong way down the roundabout, and I had to tell them to turn around. Anyway, side note, this guy's like, thank you so much. Anyway, we won't be going this way. This is where you'd normally go, and you could either go top road or you can go bottom road down here, down to the hip strip, which we're going to talk about shortly as well. Big things happening there. But now, you're going to be making a left out the airport, heading towards Iron Shore, and you're going to be hopping on the highway over here. And then you get to skip all of downtown Montego Bay. You skip Freeport. You skip Fairview. And you come out over here at Bogue. I think this is the one thing that I'm not sure of, but I think you come out at Bogue. I think that's where you come out. Again, if I was reading the article and understanding it correctly, I believe that is where you come out over here. And as the article was saying, this is going to connect to the Long Hill bypass, which let's hop over one more time. Oops. Which is this here. All right. Hope we're keeping up here. Hope we're keeping up. We don't need to know the details. There will be no test or no exam. This is just for our purposes of kind of getting a real understanding of just how big this change is. I'd be interested to know like how much they're projected in terms of like time saving. If say if you're coming to Negril or you're going to somewhere in Hanover. Like I've said before, I've been stuck in traffic at Freeport. Everybody knows that light that you have to make a left at. I've been stuck in that traffic for over an hour, easily over an hour, just trying to get to Bogue. And so now you can cut all that out. There's obviously it doesn't bring the time between here to here to zero. I don't know how long it will take you to drive this, but it's going to save you, it's for sure going to save you quite a bit of time, and especially the would-be traffic that is there. It could save you close to an hour. Who knows? But I think this is a great thing. All right. What else do I want to say? Okay. Let's get off that for a second. Now, let's continue to stick with the public sector investments. All right, let's head over to, I want to head to the airport, and then we're going to talk about the hip strip. Okay, airport first. Okay, Montego Bay presses ahead with airport expansion despite passenger slump. This came out July 3rd, 2026, and this was on the Gleaner, and let me see who wrote it. Janet Silvera. Awesome. Here in the picture, you see Shane Monroe, Chief Executive Officer of Montego Bay Airports Limited. I'm going to put this article in the comment section there for yourselves if you want to read it yourself. Despite nearly 600,000 fewer passengers during the first 5 months of the year, Sanctions International Airport is pressing ahead with major expansion program as it prepares for an expected rebound in visitor demand. SIA handled 1.588 million passengers between January and May, 27% decline from the corresponding period last year as Jamaica's tourism sector continued recovering from the effects of Hurricane Melissa. However, Chief Executive Officer Shane Monroe said that the airport was using the period to accelerate major infrastructure projects designed to increase capacity, improving efficiency, and strengthening the resilience ahead of renewed growth. We are not waiting for the perfect market conditions. We are not simply repairing damage. We are restoring, strengthening, and modernizing at the same time, Monroe told stakeholders at the airport's mid-year forum on Wednesday, adding that the airport must be ready when passenger demand fully returns. Among the largest projects nearing completion is the expansion of the airport's check-in hall, which Monroe said would improve passenger flow, reduce congestion, and support greater use of self-service technology and automation. Western Access Road linking the airport directly to Godfrey Dyer Boulevard is also under construction to ease congestion and improve motorists with an alternative entrance and exit. Monroe said Montego Bay MBJ Airport was also investing heavily in energy resilience through the installation of additional solar photovoltaic capacity and battery storage. By year end, the airport expects to have 6 megawatts of installed solar generation, double its current capacity, reducing reliance on national grid while strengthening operations during emergencies. Significant rehabilitation work is also continuing across the airport following Hurricane Melissa. Temporary. Ooh, lost my place. Temporary repairs carried out to reopen the airport after the storm have largely been replaced with permanent upgrades, while work continues on the cargo terminal roof, sections of the main terminal roof, jet bridges, air conditioning systems, information technology infrastructure, and parking facilities. Although passenger numbers remain below last year's levels, Monroe said monthly performance has steadily improved. The year-on-year decline narrowed from 37.3% in January to 18.9% in May, while aircraft load factors increased to 84.6%, indicating that airlines are operating fuller flights even with reduced schedules. He said the improving trend combined with new international routes and the gradual return of hotel room stock gives airport confidence to continue investing for long-term growth. Awesome. I think this is great. Sorry, I didn't even realize my sound went out. Apologies. I do want to show you one thing that he had mentioned. So he was talking about the secondary entrance that they're working on from Howard Cook Boulevard. So again, this is Sanctions International Airport, MBJ. And normally, even right now, as you have it, this is how you get into the airport. This is the big roundabout there. The Montego Bay sign is right here by the A1. And this is how you go into the airport. There's another roundabout here. And now to get to arrivals or departures, you make a left here, and then you make a right down here. You go around, and then this is the departure. Sorry. This is long-term parking here, actually. And then this is the departure. This is where you drop off right here. This is the entrance for the departure. This is where you go inside the building, and then all of the different airlines here. Check-in is along this back wall, if you will, and then security is down here. And then this is the arrival section. Hold on, let me make sure I know what I'm talking about here. Nope, this is the arrivals over here. So this is where you come in, you go through customs immigration over here, and then this is arrivals here where you see Avis Rent-A-Car, Fox Rent-A-Car service over here. This is where you come in. So backing up a little bit. So now, like I said, this is the only entrance that is right now. But what he's talking about is this. There's a new entrance that they've been working on here. So Howard Cook Boulevard are coming off. Wait, hold on. I'm confusing myself. Jimmy Cliff Boulevard here. So this is Jimmy Cliff Boulevard here, otherwise known as the Hip Strip, otherwise known as Bottom Road. And this is where the S Hotel is, Margaritaville is, Usain Bolt's Traction Records is, Sandoz is here. This is Dead End Road over here. So anyway, this is your other option when you're coming in from Negril. You make a right here, and now there's going to be a second entrance, and they've been working on this, and I've been seeing this. And so now, if you're coming in off of Bottom Road, you can just make the left here. There's no reason for you to kind of go all the way up here to the roundabout, and you take away that traffic, and then you can make a left here. And I'm assuming if you are departing, this is how you come into the airport. You make a right here, and then you would make a left here to join where you'd normally join coming off the roundabout, and then you can drop off. Or if you do long-term parking, which I started to do as a matter of fact, which I think is great, you can park here in long-term parking in this parking lot, and just walk to the airport and check yourself in. All right, so that's Montego Bay Airport. It's looking great. It's looking really, really beautiful. Montego Bay Airport, I think they're doing a really fantastic job in modernizing it. They were talking about the efficiency of coming through customs and immigration. Right now, did I have to talk to any? Yes, I did. So when I went through, what was interesting on my London trip is you don't need to talk to anybody. I think that's where we're heading. I didn't need to, let me see. No, I did. When I arrived in London, I didn't need to talk to anybody. I did not talk to. Boy, that's kind of crazy. Did I even take my passport out? I definitely didn't talk to anybody. I just can't remember if I had to take my passport out. But I think that's the way the world is heading. Going into the United States, I don't, and yes, it started with global entry, but I just don't take my passport out. The only time I take my passport out in travel, if I go to New York next week for Throp-X London, Throp-X New York City Connect, I will. The only time I will have to show my passport is at when I'm going through security here. Excuse me, here in Montego Bay. That's the only time I'll show my passport, and that's it. Even when I get to the gates, no, I show my passport there. But I know sometimes when I'm leaving these states, like I don't show my passport because everything is just facial recognition. And when I get to the States, I don't talk to anybody. I don't see any customs agent. It's just all facial recognition. And you just go through and it's like very, 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 very quick. We're definitely heading in that direction. I really think. And so even coming in from London, I put my passport down in the machine. I got the printout. I did have to talk to a customs agent, but then I just go to the machine and then the doors just open and I go through. Interesting times. All right, let's move on to the next thing. All right, let me look at some comments real quick. Sorry, I know I keep talking. Oh, Gary says, where do you see the biggest opportunity to build a technology business that creates lasting value for all that values Jamaica? Great question. So I actually have an article here talking about the BPO sector. Let me see if I can. This is off topic, but you brought it up. Hold on. I think I have it here. 1 second. So, why isn't it working? Nope, that's not what I meant to do. So this article is basically talking about there being a slide in the BPO sector. And I don't know if you guys remember this. I did a podcast a few years ago, and with the guest that I had on, we were talking about like the future of Jamaica. And I said, like, I don't think, because at the time, Jamaica was investing heavily in the BPO sector. And AI wasn't what it is now back then a few years ago, but you could see where things were going. And we're definitely moving into a future where there is going to be, I won't say a zero need, but a far less need, lower need for, say, a human customer service employee, because AI is going to be so good. These LLMs are going to be so good. Like, people are saying this is not even real AI that we have right now. And so those jobs, I believe, the time is limited on them. And unfortunately, Jamaica has invested a lot of money into this and made a big bet on this in terms of like literally tens of thousands of jobs are in the BPO sector. And I at the time I said, I don't know if we have 5 years left. I don't know if we have 5 years left. And we are within that window of 5 years when I had made that statement. And this article is kind of speaking to that. And I think, to your point here, Gary, I think there has to be a shift, at least in our thinking and our approach of like, how do we circumvent those jobs somewhere else and quickly? Like, it's a dying industry. I believe it's going to be a dying industry. And I also look at, I think we talked about this before. I don't know if anybody has had like an experience with the Delta chat, the chat bot with Delta. It's phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. It's a robot, obviously. It's not a human, but it's extremely, extremely helpful, and it has a lot of agency. And I never thought, I never thought like I'd be like, man, I'd rather talk to the robot right now than a human. But of course, there are times like I need to talk to a human, but it'll get a lot of the basic stuff out the way. And then if I do need to talk to a human, they come on. But that robot has saved so much time for the company, for Delta, an extreme amount of time. And imagine we are in the very near future, where you cannot tell the difference between a robot and a human being on the phone. And then that robot has agency to make financial decisions, whether it's a refund or, you making a purchase for you and help guiding you through the process of you're getting your credit card information, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, over voice, not in text. Right. And so I think this is coming faster than we think here. And I hope, again, the powers that be are thinking like that and trying to think, what industry can we bring in very quickly to replace these jobs? I mean, imagine, because anytime these companies can say, all right, we're out, we're going fully AI, and I don't think we're there yet, but it's true. They can just pull out and says that this makes no financial sense for us to stay here. And if we want to go against this contract and it costs us $10 million because that's what the contract says if we pull out early, I don't even know if that's what it is. I'm just making stuff up here, but you get what I'm saying. It'll probably be cheaper for them to pay that contract, to pay the consequences, than to kind of keep going along this route, because it's going to be just so cheap for them to use these AI robots, so to speak. So let's hop to the article real quick. I'm gonna skim through it quickly. I believe it's kind of lengthy here. BPO, $220 million US slide. Industry sheds 5,000 jobs as local spending falls to $780 million US. This is big. This is big. This was written by David Rose, July 24th, 2026. And this, I feel like people aren't talking about this enough, right? Key points: local spending fell 22% from about $1 billion US to $780 million US as another 5,000 jobs disappear. Government data employment at 50,000, while GSAJ estimates about 40,000. A working group is pursuing new investment, better skills, and a shift towards higher value KPO services. So this is kind of what you're talking about, Gary. Is it Gary? Yeah, Gary. Jamaica's global digital services GDS sector spent an estimated $780 million in the local economy in the fiscal year ended March 2026, down $220 million US from about $1 billion a year earlier, as the industry lost another 5,000 jobs. The estimate, which measures spending in Jamaica rather than export earnings, was higher than the $612 million US earned from the bauxite and alumina exports in 2025, and was equivalent to about 47% of the country's $1.65 billion in total merchandise exports. The spending covered wages, office spaces, leases, utilities, and other operating expenses. Employment in the sector fell to approximately 50,000 in March 2026 from 62,000 2 years earlier, while the number of companies declined from more than 90 to about 70. I mean, that says so much right there in those first few sentences. That says so much. And I'm not trying to be pessimistic here at all. It's like, it's just like what's happening. It's just the reality. It's just the reality of what's happening. Unfortunately, like, we have bet so much on these BPO, on BPO, which has been great, has been amazing. And BPO, these are the call centers, if I'm not being clear on that. These are call centers. And now we need to shift, and I think we need to shift before the rug gets pulled under us. I don't know. I'm not the one where an acorn falls on my head and the sky is falling, but to me, this is just so clear as day with what's happening and what will happen, but you're seeing it here for yourself. All right, let's keep rolling. The sector had already missed government's March 2025 target of 70,400 jobs by 15,400, By March 2026, the gap had widened to 20,400 jobs. The decrease in employment is attributed to a variety of factors, which include onshoring, reshoring, geopolitical considerations, technological advancements, the impact of Hurricane Melissa, and local challenges of cost of doing business, the government of Jamaica stated in its annual report from the 18K, Form 18K, the fiscal year ended March 31st, 2026, filed with the United States Securities and Exchange Commission. The report said Hurricane Melissa compounded those pressures. Hurricane Melissa, in particular, had a disruptive impact on Jamaica's GDS sector, primarily through a damage to critical infrastructure and interruptions in essential utilities, widespread outages in electricity and telecommunication networks, constrained business continuity across BPO and other digital-enabled services, limiting firms Man, you know how long I was talking to myself? Hold on one second. All right, let me wrap up here. Sorry, the Wi-Fi is not holding it down right now. Okay. So I think the point is the point is well taken, right? Hopefully at this point. And to your point, thank you, Gary, for bringing this up. I don't know. We need to shift. We need to shift something, and shift those jobs, and another industry. I was just having a conversation with somebody. Was it this morning? Yeah, I think it was there. It was this morning, talking about like I'm always going to talk about Negril like this, but like, man, I think there could be a tech hub in Jamaica in a big way. I think about Negril. We just don't, right? Unfortunately, right now we just don't have the housing for it to support it. That's a challenge with Negril, but it's such a great opportunity. It's such a great opportunity for anybody with a development mind, and has the experience. I always encourage, especially these Kingstonian developers, to come out here in Negril. I mean, I think it's just such an amazing opportunity to kind of fill that gap, because it is here. The demand is there as well. There are projects that are coming along that are fulfilling the demand, but not at the rate that it needs to. And as we know, there is a huge housing shortage here in Jamaica. But It's one of those things. It's one of those things. All right, let's keep rolling here. We've got more to talk about as it relates to Montego Bay, but thank you for that, Gary. Garfield Whitaker at grade crossing where Montego Bay Perimeter Road meets Long Hill Bypass should be changed to grade separated intersection with flyovers, underpasses to speed up traffic flow. I don't know what that means, but it sounds really smart and it sounds like it makes sense. One thing that as we kind of hop back to the Perimeter Road here, I want to bring up two things. I feel like I have an article on it, so I'm preempting what I'm about to talk about anyway. So with the Perimeter Road, what they are doing is where's Freeport here? So there's some commercial. Why am I getting lost here? So that's Pinnacle, Freeport. Okay, here's Freeport. So there's some commercial properties here along Freeport that they're actually going to be moving to along the Perimeter Road here, the highway. I don't know where it is, but we'll look in the article in a second. And then they're going to open this up for residential development. I don't know how many people have visited Freeport here. I mean, this is just a beautiful, anyway. And so from a commute standpoint, it makes more sense to put the buildings here and put those businesses here as opposed to over here. So I think that's pretty interesting. I think that's pretty smart as well. So we'll get to that article shortly. But it keeps going back to what I was saying earlier about when there is a change, either a force that is changing people's behavior and how and their relationship with a town, community, or city, that is a powerful thing, and that is something that we should be paying attention to. Let's keep rolling here. All right. Talawa says it is looking great. Love the upgrades over the years. Look forward to the continued development. Nixon, what's going on? I remember your comment. You said it's not going to last 5 years. Thank you. See, I'm not crazy. I'm not making up things. I got a witness. Appreciate you, Nixon. Mad Train, what's going on? Get to always see you in here. Talawa says airport. I cherish and miss the days of arriving to Jamaica. I know where you're going with this. I feel you. I cherish and miss the days of arriving to the Jamaican air hitting you at the plane's door, plus the open air wave gallery as you wave goodbye to your loved ones departing. The good old days. Hashtag. I agree. I definitely miss that. I don't see why we can't have that, because there's a lot of places in Europe where you get off on the tarmac. I think that's so cool. I think that's so awesome. And yeah, I remember that. You just getting off the plane and, ooh, that Jamaican air, the humidity just hitting you. And you're just like, man, I'm here. I'm home, right? All right, let's go. Let's keep going. Carlene, what's going on? The London meetup was great. Once again, it was nice meeting you, Throp. It was nice meeting you as well. Thank you so much for coming out. I appreciate you. Kato says, I thought that biometric scans at the airport were mandatory, but I found out recently that they are optional. I heard the same thing. Look at that. And same thing with the scanners as well. TSA, you can go for a pat down instead of being scanned. Damien Henry says, what about building out FIT in Jamaica? Can you... I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't want to answer your question in the wrong way. If you can just give me some context there, Damien. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Jerry says, evening all. Yes, the London meetup was nice. I appreciate it. Thank you for coming out. Make sure you come out in New York for the New Yorkers that are on this stream. August 8th, sign up in the description below. Excuse me, if you want to come to Throp-X New York City Connect in a couple of weeks, less than 2 weeks now. Damien says, I think the prime minister is a visionary. Hopefully he and his team is on top of it already. If not, we can be in some big trouble. Right. Yeah. Talking about the BPO, I guess that's what we're talking about. BPO is dying industry. Any person with common sense can see that. Yeah, I believe so. I believe so. It's a matter of time for sure. It's a matter of time. Gary says, all I had to do was ask a question. I don't know. Maybe you're talking to somebody else. Sorry. Kyle said, would you employ robots and implement AI at Travelers? I feel like, I mean, we're using AI, obviously, maybe not obviously, but we're using AI internally for our operations. And I mean, it has made so many aspects of our business so much more efficient. And it's been amazing and fantastic. I think hospitality is one of those industries, and I hope I'm not being, and I'm willing to hear the other side to this argument, so to speak. But I think hospitality is one of those industries where, not that it won't be affected by AI, but I think people will always look for that person to person interaction. And you're seeing a lot of pushback with AI, a lot of pushback with social media being on our screens, and people going for more real life events and real human interactions. And I feel like with hospitality, with travel, that is something that you're always going to look forward to. I know I do when I travel. I think it's cool seeing a robot drop off what you ordered at the restaurant in your room. I think that's cool. I think that's fun and that sort of thing. But I mean, nothing's going to beat you sitting down at the bar, Travelers on the beach, and having a conversation with Romeo and learning about what's happening in his world, and you sharing with him what happens in your culture. It's hard to beat that. It's hard to beat that authentic human to human interaction. As far as like, would we implement that? I mean, I'll never say never, but it will never be, I will for sure say, like, I don't think it will ever be the core of our business and the core of what it means to be welcome home at Travelers. That's kind of my take at this point. Jerry says, nope, not talking to me. Kaido says, I was being facetious when I say employ robots before anyone points out, obviously, that they can't be employed. No, I got it. But fair question. Fair question. I think that was fine. Garfield says, UE and UTech Western campuses could focus on IT, high-tech research applications. Michael Brown says, Throp, they should also move Catherine Hall to inland, close by the highway. Moving structures further inland helps protect public infrastructures from coastal erosion, sea level rise, or floods. Michael Brown continues. Okay, same thing. Quantity says, AI can replace routine BPO tasks, but the best model combines automation with human review, expertise, and quality control. Existing skilled professionals, easy pivot to prompt engineers. Great point. Jerry says, it's no longer live due to the drop in the power you just had. Greetings, Throp. I agree. AI for me cannot replace human to human interactions. All right, cool. All right, next thing along our discussion here. All right, let's hop to the hip strip real quick. All right, this is a short one. I'm going to put this in the comment section as well. So this one, hip strip development will fall under NARA, says TEF head. That's Kerry Wallace. He is the Executive Director of the Tourism Enhancement Fund. Montego Bay St. James Executive Director of the Tourism Enhancement Fund, Dr. Kerry Wallace, has indicated that planned rehabilitation of the famed hip strip in our Jimmy Cliff Boulevard in Montego Bay could be placed under the government's new vehicle for post-hurricane militia development, the NARA, National Reconstruction and Resilience Authority. I feel like, yeah, this is old. So if you remember, we went through this, but let's go through this. I think it's good context at the end of the day. I think this is good context. All right. Doing an interview with the Jamaican Observer on Tuesday. So this was, I don't know if I said this before, April 30th, 2026. During an interview with the Jamaica Observer on Tuesday, Wallace explained that the long-awaited project could be included under NARA because the hip strip falls within a wider area for which there are major redevelopment plans. I think the bottom road and the corridor from the port of Montego Bay passing along the hip strip all the way towards Trelawney and so on. There are some huge plans under NARA program for that. We are in discussions to ensure that the collaboration of all the work will be done already. Hold on. I just want to get to the meat of the matter. Okay. 2021 TF through the chairman Godfrey Dyer announced that it would be spending approximately $1 billion to upgrade the hip strip from Howard Cook Boulevard to Kent Avenue. The project is now in the design stage. 2021 TUI Care Foundation. Man, I thought I was going to talk about like specifics. We talked about it here before. It looks amazing. It looks amazing. It looks great. So that was I'm going to leave that part there. So that was the infrastructure section of the pillars. So we talked about the perimeter road / highway. We talked about the upgrades at Montego Bay Airport, and we talked about the hip strip being upgraded. So that is the infrastructure pillar. Let's move to the hotel pillar. Right? And so this is still for those who are just joining, this is still under the umbrella of these great changes that are happening to Montego Bay that is going Sorry about that. It's just one of those days. So I was saying that it's these projects and everything that's happening is going to make it seem as if Montego Bay is like a light switch has changed overnight. And my argument in saying this is like it's all of the three pillars that we're talking about today. It's all going to be happening within an 18 to 24 month period. Like great changes. So we talk about the infrastructure part. Now we're going to talk about hotels, right? And so earlier I was making the point that there has been a lot of not hoopla, but song and dance and man, haven't had one of these days in a long time. Really bad. Okay. All right. So let's go into the hotel, trying to get to the hotel part. All right. So hotel part, second pillar is people have been, rightfully so, very, very celebratory. We've been celebrating the new construction of these new hotels and these ultra luxury new hotels. And new hotel rooms, new hotel inventory, and it's amazing and it's great. And we've been talking about these for many, many, many years. What I also think is very, very important to recognize is the amount of money that is going into existing hotels, right? So, as I was saying earlier before, unfortunately, Jamaica has suffered devastating hit with Hurricane Melissa. And what has caused that, obviously, great displacement of many of our residents, a lot of damage to many businesses, disruptions to people's lives, schools, and in many, many, many ways, in many, many respects, we have not recovered from what has happened with Hurricane Melissa. There are still many, many, many hotels, shifting to the hotel situation. There are still many, many hotels that are still closed here in Negril, and most of them in Montego Bay. I mean, this is literally thousands of room inventory that is just not online and not on board right now. But moving into 2027, I'm just going to go through some of them. From now until 2027, so many of them are reopening. And they have used this very tragic and devastating situation with Hurricane Melissa as an opportunity to refurbish, reimagine, and change their properties. And literally hundreds of millions of dollars are going into these refurbished properties. And in a way, and please take what I'm about to say with a grain of salt and bear with me with what I'm about to say, but in a way, they are lucky that this is happening, because not lucky that we got hit by the storm, but there is an opportunity, great opportunity for them to do this refurbishment. And I say that because of the products, the hotel hospitality products that are coming to Jamaica, that are coming specifically to the North Coast. And they are ultra luxury products that are from international investments, international hotel groups that are coming to Jamaica at a level and at a scale that Jamaica has never seen before. And I was saying this earlier in respect to both the hotel industry and then also from a residential standpoint, that Jamaica is getting a level of clientele at a scale in which we've never got before, right? And so we're getting like they're going after like these 1%ers with these hotel accommodations and bringing in clienteles from regions of the world that we never have really been exposed to before, again, at scale. I think that's the important part here. So let's first go and just talk a little bit about the hotels that are coming on board that were shut down because of Hurricane Melissa and have been reinvesting into their properties. And I want to talk specifically about, let's see, I really want to talk about Sandals. That's the main one I want to talk about. Let me see if I could bring up their article. I got so many tabs open here. Sorry, we're going to find it. I will look it up. All right, we're going to get it. All right, so I'm just going to run through the hotels that are closed and reopening. So we got Breathless Montego Bay Spa closed, scheduled to reopen 2027. Dreams Rose Hall Resort and Spa closed, scheduled to reopen early 2027. Hyatt Zilara Rose Hall scheduled to reopen early 2027. Hyatt Ziva Rose Hall. Zilaria Rose Hall 2027. Ziva Rose Hall. These are both Hyatt properties scheduled to open up early 2027. Secret St. James Montego Bay scheduled to reopen early 2027. Secrets Wild Orchid Montego Bay scheduled to open early 2027. Jewel Grand Montego Bay scheduled to reopen early 2027. Zoetry, scheduled to reopen October 2026. Sandoz Montego Bay and Sandoz Royal Caribbean, scheduled to Okay, we're back. Alan Max, what's happening? Good to see you, man. Yes, Moon Palace, tallest new hotel, will be the tallest building in Jamaica, 33 stories. We're going to get to that shortly. So the hotels that I just mentioned, those are already just the existing hotels, and they're all being refurbished. Hold on. They're all being refurbished. And the reason why I said they get lucky, because all of these new hotels that are brand new, starting from scratch, it would have been otherwise hard to compete with them. I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say hard to compete with them, but they would be competing with them with an older product. I mean, just by default, it's an older product, right? And to refurbish your hotel, trust me, we've been doing it here. God, it's like some of the hardest times is to have an operating existing hotel and then to do a refurbishing or a construction project while you have guests here. And it is just like this very much give and take that some people understand, some people don't. And I understand you're on vacation. We try to let you know beforehand that you're coming into a construction zone, so to speak. My point is it's challenging. And I know this firsthand, and I can only imagine at a 400, 300, 600 room hotel to try to do something like that, right? And now you have this opportunity where your entire hotel is shut down. I'm sure you have insurance money. And I'm sure you have had, if you don't have the capital, you have the ability to raise the capital to reinvest into your property to be in line either at or ahead of this new competition that's coming in your space. Because these new hotels, like by nature, yes, travelers, small hotels, yes, we're competing with them, but maybe not really. I think it's great for Jamaica. The marketing that they're going to put into these hotels and these products is going to be amazing for Jamaica. We're going to be getting eyeballs and considerations that we've never had before. But it's the big boys competing with the big boys. At the end of the day, that's what it is. And now all these existing big boys, if you will, that have already been here in Jamaica and have invested decades in Jamaica, they're using this as an opportunity to become that much more competitive with the new players that are coming into Jamaica. So good for them. Let's read a couple of articles here to kind of put things in perspective. All right. So this is Travel Pulse. Do we got a date here? Do we got an author? Nope. All right. Sandoz announces $200 million investment in Jamaica resorts. Sandoz Resorts International, this is March 2026. Sandoz Resort International has revealed plans to invest $200 million to reimagine three of its most beloved resorts, including Sandoz Montego Bay, Sandoz Royal Caribbean, and Sandoz South Coast. All three resorts remain closed following Hurricane Melissa's landfall last fall, allotting the all-inclusive resort giant time to weigh some potential improvements as part of its Sandoz 2.0 vision. Rather than reopening at the end of May, the coming months will see the trio of resorts reimagined, from striking new arrival moments overlooking the Caribbean Sea to new accommodation categories, redesigned pools, and refreshed lounge and social spaces. According to Sandoz, culinary offerings will also expand with the introduction of new dining concepts and bar experience across each resort. Sandals South Coast will reopen on November 18th, 2026, followed by both Sandals Royal Caribbean and Sandals Montego Bay on December 18th, 2026. The opportunity to completely reimagine 3 resorts at this scale with full focus and without compromising the guest experience, as I just said, is extraordinarily rare. Well said, Adam Stewart, executive chairman of Sandals Resorts International, said in a statement. With our doors closed, we were given something we almost never have in hospitality, a true blank canvas, and having that clarity changed everything. We spent time walking the property, speaking with our team, and thinking about our guests. He added. At a pivotal moment, it became clear we shouldn't simply restore what was there. We should dream bigger. When we welcome our guests back, they'll see the transformation and they'll feel exactly why we chose to use the moment to create something worthy of their loyalty, Stewart concluded. Sandals, other 5 Jamaican properties, including Sandals Royal Plantation, Sandals Ochi, Sandals Duns River, Sandals Negril, and Beaches Negril remain in operation and open to guests. I think that's fantastic. I think that's really, really great. I feel like there's one more article that I wanted to read in that regard. Okay. Hold on one second. One more article. All right, so this was just recently announced. So I think this is also great. Jamaica's getting another Marriott. Really, really, really awesome. So Marriott all-inclusive coming to Montego Bay. Let's go through it real quick. This is the Jamaica Observer. Going to throw it into the comment section there. You guys can read it yourselves. And this was, who is this written by? I don't know why they do that. They sometimes they just don't put the author. All right. Anyway, let's keep rolling. St. James, Jamaica, Montego Bay will become its first all-inclusive Marriott hotel in 2028, as the former Holiday Inn resort is set to be converted into a 522-room Catalonia-controlled resort. I think that's amazing. Nearly 13,000 square feet of meeting space and other amenities such as fitness center, tennis, and pickleball courts. The converted property lists 10 more rooms than when it was acquired in 2024. This agreement reflects leading international brands' recognition of our operational excellence and the strength of our management model. It also aligns with the company's expansion strategy, including collaborations that support our growth in strategic markets, said Manuel Valenzuela, Catalonia's chief commercial and operations officer, in the press release. The move by Catalonia represents its first venture in Jamaica, which builds on its regional presence with 5 all-inclusive resorts in Mexico and 4 in the Dominican Republic. It also marks the entry of the Valet family into Jamaica, which has other Spanish-controlled resort brands. These include the Rio Resorts by the Rio family, the Baji Principe Hotels and Resorts by the Pinero family, and Iberostar Hotels and Resorts by the Fluxa family. These arrangements represent a significant milestone in our all-inclusive strategy and demonstrate the strength of our relationships with experienced owners seeking to maximize value through Marriott's globally recognized brands, stated Laurent de Koosmaker, Marriott Chief Development Officer, Caribbean and Latin America. This is the second newly announced Marriott property to be introduced to the tourism capital. Sandals Resorts International Executive Chairman Adam Stewart announced last year that the Montego Bay Hip Strip would host the AC Marriott Montego Bay. That 165 room resort is scheduled to open in 2027 as a lifestyle hotel under the European Plan EP model. Stewart also owns the AC Hotel in Kingston, which opened in June 2019. Stewart is the executive chairman of the Jamaica Observer. The Courtyard Marriott Kingston was the first Marriott branded hotel in Jamaica. That property opened in November of 2015 at a cost of about $22 million US. The property is managed by Caribe Hospitality Jamaica Limited, which is a 35% owned by Pan Jamaican Group Limited. Oh, a lot of information there. Thanks for that. And that's also brings up another hotel aspect, which I forgot to mention. We're back on our map here, going back to the Hip Strip, Jimmy Cliff Boulevard, and we're going to head to Dead End Road. And this is Sandals Resort. This is where the AC Marriott Montego Bay, I'm not sure if that's what they're calling it, but this is where it's going to be. It's right here. Damn, I just lost my place again. I keep doing this. Yeah, so this is oh, sorry, that's not it. This is it right here. This is Dead End Road right here. This is where you would go to the airport, and they're redoing it, and that's going to be the I lose it. That's Sea Garden there. Blah, blah, blah. That's going to be the new AC resort. So the Hip Strip is going to be completely redefined. Another data point. All right. Oh yeah, I forgot. We're going into all right, let's go into the new bills, right? So those are the existing hotels that are being refurbished, acquired, taken over, whatever have you. And now let's go into some of the new ones, right? And I'm going to list them out. Just going over my notes here. So we got Okay, as Island Max was saying, he's talking about the tallest hotel in Jamaica, which is Moon Palace Grand, which is 33 stories, 1,200 luxury suites. It's a $700 million US development. I know I'm sure I'm missing some. Don't kill me here. Then you got the Unico development, 1,100 rooms that is along the same area as the Hard Rock Hotel. And then what else we got here? And then even with the Pinnacle, they're partner and have partnered with Accor, and they're going to have 266 luxury hotel rooms there as well. So really, really, really big stuff as it relates to hospitality coming to Montego Bay in terms of room numbers. Minister of Tourism, this is not just Montego Bay, but he was saying, I forget when he said this, but they were looking at 10,000 new rooms by 2030. And it looks like we're going to be on our way there. I mean, really, really exciting stuff for the hospitality industry for Jamaica, and it's going to be bringing in so many jobs. It's going to be, as I said before, bringing in a level of clientele at scale that Jamaica has never seen before. Let me go to the comments real quick, and then we'll get to the third pillar, which is the luxury residential aspect, and that'll kind of land the plane of my point with where Jamaica is going. Oh, sorry, not Jamaica, but Montego Bay. All right, let's hop to these comments real quick. Jasper says, might need to do a part 2 on this discussion next week. I'm open for a part 2 for sure. Especially with this internet just kind of killing momentum. But I hope we're kind of getting my point here and seeing where things are going. Thame says, invest in all Jamaica's social and economic pillars. Localized enterprise and entrepreneurs are needed because foreign ownership is too lopsided. Do I agree with that? I think foreign ownership probably gets, in terms of like dollars spent, yes, there are, I would agree that there is more money in terms of like these private sector investments. I feel like there's more money coming in from the outside that is being generated here on the inside. I could be wrong on that, but I feel like that I haven't heard of like billion US dollar investments being done, like multiple billion-dollar US investments happening by Jamaican companies. I'm not saying that, but it doesn't have to be big like that. It could be on more of a micro scale. I think there should be more incentives and opportunities given to local entrepreneurs in that sense. So I think I will slightly agree with you on that, Dames. Michael Brown says, an iconic waterfront feature like Ferris wheel surrounded by authentic local eateries would hit a major missing piece in Montego Bay's current tourism and civic landscape. I think that's a good point. I think that would be nice. Garfield Whitaker says Montego Bay tourism product could use an attraction like Publix Aquarium and Mini Zoo. Thame says still waiting for greater shoreline and beach access for local Jamaican citizens, loving the ability to interact with locals and regular citizens outside the hotel economy. I mean, I think that, there's a lot of access for sure. I don't know, like these are all inclusive. So like everyone that except for the Sandals one, I think all of the ones that I had mentioned are all-inclusive beach properties. But the Sandals, the AC Marriott, that is, they don't have a beach there. I forget the point that I was making, but at least he's still waiting for a greater shoreline and beach access for local Jamaicans. I'll leave that there. Give It Up Dot says, what can you tell us about about how current Kingston is? What do you mean by that? In terms of real estate, or you could give me some context there? I better be able to answer your question. Thame says, thought we are still going to patronize your spot because it's a quaint vibe. Simple as that. Awesome. Looking forward to having you here. Mark, what's happening? Well done, sir, from B3GG. Always good to meet up. Yes, thank you. Nice having dinner with you and your team. Thank you for inviting me out. Donna Bryce says, I've never heard of an all-inclusive Marriott. Me neither. Me neither. Interesting. Shelly Champion says, my wish is that these major chains, Sandoz, Marriott, Catalonia, would include paying their local staff a living wage as part of their development strategy. What makes you think that they're not? That they're not paying a living wage? I don't know. What makes you say that they're not doing that? Garfield Whitaker says Sandoz Carlisle being converted to brand new 10-floor AC Marriott will definitely give the hip strip a boost. Agreed. Mr. Pork Pit in Montego Bay. Just do not a pork eater, but I don't think I've ever been there. Where was that located? One Love Rose. I've stayed at the AC Marriott Kingston and like to be there the night before I fly out from Kingston. I'm excited to be able to do that in AC Marriott Montego Bay. Is a new Pinnacle design confirmed? I saw they made some adjustments to the last two towers. I haven't seen the schematic for it, so I can't really speak to that at this point. Throp, you haven't mentioned the Women's World Cup potential 2031. Great point. And that's more so on the Kingston side of things. I think that will be amazing for Jamaica. I think that would be phenomenal. I think that would also incentivize, encourage a lot of economic investment in Kingston and in Jamaica. But that Jamaica has been, thank you for bringing that up, but Jamaica has been positioning itself to take that on. And that will be incredible. Absolutely, absolutely incredible. And the prime minister, we saw the prime minister at the World Cup, and I'm sure he's doing his lobbying, his networking, making the connections to see to it that happens. There has been a huge, you guys have seen already, there's been a huge investment in the national stadium that I think we can all be proud of. It looks amazing. And then there would obviously need to be, and I think there's plans for further investment into the national stadium to accommodate. I think it's already coming. I think it's already budgeted out, if I'm not mistaken. But I think there would be also more investment in the road infrastructure and the road network to accommodate that influx of people coming to Jamaica. I mean, and going to the game. Like, it's crazy. The games, I should say. Jamaica is becoming unaffordable. I don't know. Becoming? I don't know. And when I say unaffordable, what the word unaffordable, I mean, Jamaica is expensive. It has always been expensive. I've been saying this, like, Jamaica is not one of these like cheap destinations. I don't think it ever has been. I always say, like, it comes down to the cost of energy, which we haven't figured out. We just haven't. All right, let's keep rolling here. Garfield, any word on the Vista Trilogy project on the hip strip? Yo, you reading my mind. We get into it. You're ahead of the game, Garfield. You're ahead of the game. I got it lined up. We're going to talk about it in a second. Dame says, too much money invested in Jamaica is still leaving Jamaica. Love the locals. Can't argue with there. I think there could be more money that stays here. More money that stays here. There's a lot of I'm being careful because I don't want to pin one against another, but let's just say there's a lot of local businesses. Most of that money staying here. Let's leave it at that. Let's leave it at that. But we do need the international investments. I think it's great for Jamaica. Ultimately, I think it's a huge economic driver. And I always say, how else? If our goal, I always say, like, the goal is. And the figuring out is trying to get, in a legal way, that is, how do we get the money from the people who have money to the people who don't have money? That's what we're trying to do here, right? And that's what we're trying to accomplish here. And that's the game, so to speak, right? And not in a tricky way or a conniving way, but from an economic standpoint. That's like what we're trying to do as a country. And we have to get the people who have money to come here so we can get it for them and put it in the hands of the people who don't have money. And we got to create that equation of exchange somehow, right? Who am I says, I like the PM new initiative for the people in the inner city that own property can now borrow NHT loan to build multifamily house on property. I think that's excellent as well. Michael Brown says, here's an idea: Montego Bay International Health City, a premier medical tourism destination located near the Montego Bay Convention Center, combining an international hospital integrated into hotels. I think, like, there is a certain level of medical tourism that is happening in Jamaica, but I don't think it's happening at the scale that it should be. I always like to give a couple of examples. I think if you don't have dental, this is really probably mostly speaking to Americans here, but if you don't have dental or optical coverage, Jamaica is a great place to get that done. It's not like you're coming down here to have brain surgery. You're coming here to get your eyes checked. You're coming here to get your teeth cleaned and checked. I always give the example of, and it's going to be far cheaper, far, far, far cheaper than you would be paying in the United States. And I'd say that there's a huge arbitrage here. And even though I was just saying Jamaica is not getting expensive, it's been expensive. And the arbitrage, though, is on the medical side of things. And that is I always think that like general checkups are generally better here, more accessible and more affordable here in Jamaica than in the United States. I'm going to keep saying the United States because of places like Canada and Europe, you guys have universal healthcare. I could be wrong, but that's my understanding. And so I give the example of, I think 2 or 3 years ago, I had cracked my tooth. I have my dentist that I go to in New York, in the city. Shout outs to Dr. Kirsch, 115 West 86th Street. Best dentist in the world. And I've been going to him since I was a kid. NYU graduate. I can keep going on about Dr. Kirsch. But amazing. If you're in New York, I highly recommend that you go to him and check him out as a dentist. So I couldn't make it to him because I cracked my tooth, and it was like my tooth was very, very sharp. It was one of my molars. And I ended up going to the dental office here in Negril at Boardwalk Shopping Village, excuse me. And they did my tooth. I don't know. Oh my gosh. I don't know if it cost me $100. I can't remember. And I have insurance. I didn't use my insurance for it. I have my insurance here. And excellent care, excellent service. Phenomenal. And I'm sure teeth cleaning is probably around, I'm assuming it's going to be just as affordable, right? And so if you're on vacation, you don't have dental at home, you want to get your teeth cleaned, you want to get x-rays, come and do it here. Far cheaper. You can get an appointment more than likely same day, as a matter of fact. It'll probably take you a couple hours. Also, I give the example of I've had many injuries as a runner here. I've had to get MRIs on my knees, x-rays. MRI, no insurance. I paid here at Omega Medical Hospital, the private hospital here in Negril. I think is the equivalent of $300. Some places in the United States, it's thousands of dollars to get an MRI done. Same thing with optical. Want to get your eyes checked, fraction of the cost. You can do your eye check. You can get your glasses, prescription, moving away from optical if you need prescriptions. Jamaica it's set up in many ways for some of the, the genetically predisposed ailments, diseases that we have with hypertension, high cholesterol. I have glaucoma, so I get my glaucoma medication there. My eye drops, all readily available at a fraction of the cost that you pay for in the United States. So my point is like there is an element of medical tourism and medical arbitrage that exists innately here in Jamaica. And I don't think a lot of people think about that when they come to visit or they're here with their family. And the care is great. It's fantastic. It's professional, just as you would get in the United States, right? But I think there's great opportunity to create facilities that cater directly and openly and market directly to that market. Not to say that they can't serve the local community and the local population. But I think, like, if you look at, so for example, I was looking at two places I was looking at. I was looking at Medellin, Colombia, and also Bangkok, Thailand, looking to get these full service medical checkups that they do. And I'm talking about like blood work, scans, what do you call those stuff? A bunch of stuff. Like, I mean, that would cost thousands, probably tens of thousands of dollars if I were to try to do this in the United States. For some of the programs, hundreds of dollars are made, just very, very, very affordable. And you can just get a great understanding of your baseline health. They make recommendations. And then you can kind of get into like the cosmetic stuff as well. Just amazing stuff. So I think there's an opportunity to do stuff of that nature. I'm not in the medical field. I can't really speak to that, but the medical professionals out there, I think there's great opportunity for you. If you don't have a business mind, maybe you could partner with somebody. But Jamaica, by its very nature, is just such a great healing place. I was talking with somebody yesterday about this is their third visit to Jamaica in the last year, and it was their first international trip that they ever took, right? And they were taking a bunch of medication that they needed to kind of calm their nerves, get some sleep, and get some rest to get even just 4 hours of sleep because of their demanding lifestyle that they had back home in the United States. And every time that they came here to Jamaica, all of that medication was unnecessary. Been sleeping like a baby. Can't explain to me why that is or how that is, but they know it's Jamaica that has really that has given them that opportunity to rest, to recover, and this is like amazing health benefits. I've heard this from you if you've watched my podcast. Multiple people who have come on. I'm just thinking of Kenya Wagstaff, who was on my podcast. She moved from Brooklyn to here in Jamaica. First tried in 2018 and officially moved in 2024. And she was having nervous breakdown, bunch of stressful things that happened to her, needing to take medication. And then when she moved here, all that was gone, didn't need to take any medication. There was also Tiffany Grant, who I've had on the podcast a couple times as well. She's a financial guru, lives here in Negril, has 3 young children that she's raising out here in Negril. And she was on blood pressure medication in, I think it was Jersey or New York. I can't remember. Decided to move down here and didn't have to take any of that blood pressure medication. Her doctor back home said, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. And she knew it was Jamaica. Just many, many, many examples of people moving here or spending extended periods of time here and in one way or another being healed by the island. And it just makes sense to me that there is a combination of, I was going to say Western and Eastern medication, but I more so the natural healing abilities that Jamaica seems to have already innately and just fundamentally, and combining that with being a healing person in the medical field in Western medicine. So just my little rant on that. I think it's just a great opportunity. This is a great opportunity. All right, let's keep rolling here. Cruising the Conan, as Canadians coming with the intention of building a home, our concerns are around any friction from nationals about international wave moving in. I don't think that exists. Honestly, at least I haven't heard it, and if there's anybody that can speak to the contrary of what I'm saying here, if there's a pushback of people who are living here, is there a pushback against foreigners moving here? I haven't heard anything like that. That to me doesn't exist in Negril. I'm not saying incidents don't happen. I haven't heard of any personally, but I don't see that. And I think, and I could be wrong, I feel at least the people who are moving to Jamaica, you already have to have some sort of mindset that you want to do that. And I would never want it to be like this, and I hope you're not offended by this, Kuzum Conan, like this kind of, where there's conscious or unconscious, but like this neo-colonial approach to it. And I bring that up from an experience that I had when I went to Bali. And with that trip to Bali, it's one of the reasons why I really did not like Bali. And it was a reason why, that's kind of the reason why I probably won't go back. And it wasn't the people of Bali. It wasn't the nature in Bali. It was beautiful. But it was the people who had moved there, and the people who were vacationing there. They felt like this, oh my gosh, this incredible level of entitlement. It was disgusting, absolutely disgusting. And even the way that I've witnessed on multiple occasions of how they were talking to the locals, like it was terrible, 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 terrible. And so I don't think I haven't seen that happen here. I don't even think that would even be accepted culturally here in Jamaica, even in the smallest of ways. And again, I don't think that you Conan moving here, like you're not coming in here with that attitude. And and there are some people I know people like this who are coming in here, think that they are elevated or above people for whatever reason. But it's not something that it's because of Jamaica. It's that individual's personality, right? And so to your question directly, like, again, I don't know of this being a situation or a challenge for anybody. Like here in Negril, we have quite a big, vibrant, robust expat community that is very very much integrated into the Negril community, and I think it's more welcome than anything else. And but I don't think that's, I honestly don't think that's a big concern of yours. I really don't. I shouldn't be, at least. The Vista Trilogy has 3 15-floor towers on the hip strip. We're going to come back. Don't worry, I haven't forgot you, Garfield. Damn, we're going to be on 2 hours and 30 minutes. We're coming back. All right, let me just get through these comments, and we're gonna get into that. That'll be the last section of our stream today. What impact will the new airport have on Negril versus Montego Bay growth and construction? Absolutely growth. I think it's also going to help relieve a lot of the pressure on the Montego Bay airport, because look at the thousands of rooms that I just talked about that are going to be coming on board. Those are thousands of more people coming in and out of Jamaica that will be flying in and out of St. Louis International Airport. And imagine we could take a portion, a percentage of that, who are going to that airport by default, and we bring them over to actually where they want to go here in Negril. It's going to alleviate a tremendous amount of pressure on that airport. It's also the Negril International Airport, that is also going to incentivize immensely so much investment. We already need so much housing already as is, but imagine the air traffic controllers, the pilots, the flight crew, they're all going to need a place to stay. There's going to be people who have full-time jobs that are going to be coming from other parts of Jamaica that are going to have to live here in Negril, because you're not going to want to commute from Ochi or Montego Bay here. And there's also going to be a mass education and training for those people. I mean, it's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful thing that I'm very excited by. Homai says, what is the ROI for a small investor in the Jamaican tourism dwelling sector? You'd have to be a lot more specific than that for me to answer that question. But I think it's a great question. Be a little bit more specific. Are we talking about opening a jerk chicken stand? Are we talking about a rent-a-car service? Are we talking about a taxi transportation service, limousine service? Are we talking about an attraction? Are we talking about a hotel? There's so many things that go into tourism. I think there's so many opportunities in tourism in Jamaica, and also depending on where you are with all those hotels, they're, as much as they are probably going to be staying inside of the hotels, there's still a lot of support businesses and a lot of support outside of that hotel that they will need. You know what I'm saying? It's not like they're getting everything from inside the hotel. So if you could clarify a little bit more, I'd be more than happy to answer that. Simone, what's happening? Blessed Sunday, Throp and Throppers from ATL. Good to have you. Shelly Champion says, that's a fair question. I'm following Tourism Lens on YouTube, and there was a gentleman, cannot recall his name, discussing the advocacy for increased wages and job protections. Gotcha. This is back to your question about paying fair wages by some of these hotels. It is, I mean, it's hard, it's hard to say specifically, because I don't know. Obviously, I don't know what they're being paid. But I look at tourism, I look at particularly the hotel industry, right? It's one of those industries, and maybe the restaurant industry as well, right? It's one of those industries where you can literally start at the very, 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 very bottom, and you can make your way all the way to the top. If you look at, from what I understand, the new JHTA president of the Jamaica Hotel and Tourist Association president is one of those stories of a guy who started from the top and moved his way all the way up the ladder at Sandals, and now is the president of the Jamaica Hotel and Tourist Association. And it's one of these institutions, one of these industries where you don't necessarily need any prerequisites. Like, you don't need to have a degree, college degree, or anything like that. You can come in and be trained from the ground up and rise as high as you want. And I've seen that before. I've seen somebody turn from a waiter all the way up to a director or an operations manager. And there's so many stories just like that. And so I don't know. I think I'm very passionate about hospitality. Obviously, I'm very passionate about hotels, and yes, there are. And I'm not accusing any of these hotels that I mentioned this, but yes, there are some bad actors and bad operators, bad managers, just like any industry out there, for sure, for sure. But I think at the end of the day, like I think all of this stuff is a net positive for Jamaica, and I'd rather these institutions be making these investments here in Jamaica than in Mexico or the Dominican Republic. I mean, at the end of the day, bottom line, should there be guardrails and should there be certain agreements with this? Absolutely. And incentives that we Jamaica should be getting? Absolutely. Definitely, definitely, definitely. But I think it's a net positive at the end of the day. And it says it looks like the gentrification of Black River and etc. is going to take place, just like it has with Katrina, New Orleans, in Maui, Hawaii, after a disaster. I'm not sure what you're talking about, but I think you bring up two very important, very important points with these locations, and like those things need to be studied, and I want to look more into that, especially the New Orleans one, both of them for sure. But it's like I'm sure there's a lot that we can learn from them, and we don't want to make those mistakes. And again, I'm not sure what exactly you're speaking about with that, but with Black River specifically, but it's something that I'm going to look into, that I want to learn more about as well. Dr. Pecan says, what is the biggest challenge for small scale real estate investors in Negril? What a question. Biggest challenge. I mean, it's gonna be, and I'm gonna kind of put words in your mouth here a little bit. So let's define small scale real estate investors, right? So I'm going to go answer your question from a small scale real estate developer, right? And let's say you're developing something, you bought the land, you're developing between 5 to 15 units at this development, which you will need a developer's license to do. Anything 5 plus, you need a developer's license, right? And so I'm just kind of walking through the process as I answer this question. So you're obviously going to need to get approvals for your development. So you're going to have an architect. You're going to have a structural engineer. Hopefully, you also have a quantity surveyor that's part of your team. This is all pre-construction, right? And you're coming up with this concept because you're doing this development that you're looking to get approved by the local planning authority, which is the Negril Green Island Planning Authority here. Negril Green Island Area Planning Authority here in Negril. And then also assuming that your design is very marketable, in the sense that it has a demand for it, in terms of you've done your research and the number of units that you'll be looking to build, plus the amenities that will be at the development. So I'm making all these assumptions that you've done your homework in doing this, right? And that, again, the demand for this 5 to 15 unit development that you're going to be doing will be there during construction, pre-construction, during construction, and after it's completed. And so now let's assume you have this dream team, you have the Avengers that we always talk about here on this live stream that you need to do to build your home and to do a development in your case. Of course, you're going to have the last piece that we're going to talk about is a very, very, very good contractor that you trust and are very confident that will bring your project in on time and on budget, right? And I guess that is all of those steps that I just said, like they have their own individual challenges by themselves. And of course, the construction aspect of itself, you want to make sure that you get that right, because it could take the project under, right? And I think that part is one thing that, even if you're doing a small project, but definitely a large project, that people underestimate, and they sometimes underfund, right? And sometimes the underfunding comes from trying to cut corners. Many times comes from working with the wrong people contractor, sometimes the wrong. I haven't heard really. Oh yeah, no, I've heard of a bad architect. Yes, sometimes the wrong architect. Well, so it's really getting the team right, and it, like I've always said, your relationship and experience with Jamaica, and especially doing business down here of any sort, is going to come down to the quality of the people that you are working with and that you know. Bottom line, full stop. And if you can get that right, and you can kind of focus on that in terms of like in the beginning, you put a disproportionate amount of time towards doing due diligence on building this team, that is going to either create a dreamlike experience and kind of totally throw out a lot of these cautionary tales that I always talk about on this live stream and on my platform, or it's going to create a nightmare. And so that's kind of my best advice that I would give you from a small scale, but I think that applies to all scales. You know, at the end of the day, kind of the example that I went through. Wow, there's a lot of comments. All right, I'm going to start blazing through some of these comments. What is the government doing to protect these people that are struggling and the families who live generation to generation on land in port homes that are now not able to build because I'm not sure I understand. I'm not sure I understand the question. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. I understand the question. Let's keep going. Throps, we should support the jerk chicken, jerk pork industry and stop fighting against the pork meat. I didn't know there was a fight against the pork meat. Garfield, the Catherine Hall Stadium needs to be significantly upgraded to at least 25,000 seats to accommodate international sports tourism. All right, I'm going to start to get some comments from people who didn't really comment. World-class water park in Jamaica is a massive investment opportunity given the island's year-round tourism and warm climate to guarantee its premier crowd puller. Fortunately, that has not worked in Jamaica. We had a water park here in Negril, just never really worked out, like honestly, and it's shut down. It's for sale. If you're interested in buying a water park, you can talk to me. I'll help you out. But the thing about water parks, I say this: one, water in Jamaica is very expensive, very, very expensive. It's almost become, from a commercial standpoint, like it's for us here at Travelers, like it's rivaling our electricity bill. So first and foremost, something to think about. I always say any sort of project development that you're doing, you have to have a water strategy. You have to have an electricity strategy. And when I say water strategy, like water harvesting, rainwater harvesting, and like you got to have an immense amount of reserve water tank as well. And on the electricity side, think solar, think batteries, like, and it has to be part of your game plan. It has to be part of your strategy. A lot of people underestimate that. With water parks in particular, outside of the expense of running a water park, we also got to think, especially for Americans, it is very, very, very hard to compete with a water park in America. I'm from Long Island. I mean, we got some of the best water parks on Long Island, some of the best water parks in, I was going to say, I guess you could, not really tri-state area, but, you know, Downey Park, like Six Flags Great Adventure, which is not even a water park, but they have water rides there. They are massive. It's hard to compete with that American approach. So the American market to come to a water park here in Jamaica, it's just nowhere near as fun. You know, it just can't compare. It's hard to, it's hard to compete with that. So anyway, I don't think that didn't work out, you know, and that's a example right here down the road, unfortunately. So something to think about. Donna Bryce says, Dopper, I agree. A few years ago, my parents passed. My dad needed a CT scan. I braced myself for the cost. Was pleasantly surprised. $250. There you go. Rick Axel, what's going on? This is anecdotal, but it's a dichotomy in some scene. The basic things in Jamaica are pricey in comparison to other countries, but things that are costly in other countries are cheaper here. Well said. Well said. A private MRI in the UK is around 250 to 300 pounds. Interesting to know it's the same in Jamaica. Clyde, what's happening? Good seeing you last week. Hey, great to see you in London. Did I hear you say Throp-X is coming to London 2027? Yes, we're bringing it to London. You can hold me to that. We're going to make it happen. Otis, Jamaica is not changing year by year. It is changing minute by minute. Excuse me. Kingston and Montego Bay skyline will be different, a lot different in 5 years. Investors cannot lose. Agreed. All right. Let's keep going here. Sorry, I'm skipping some comments here because I want to get to our third pillar here. Jamaica 278 says, Throp, how do you feel about losing out on RTI Dream Week in Montego Bay versus Negril? I talked about that a little bit earlier, but I think it's fine. We are having our own version of that, and I'm saying we, like I'm doing it myself, but there's a lot of local promoters who are doing a 10-day event starting next Friday. So it's not like there's going to be a gap in the market, and I'm very happy that people saw the opportunity and they're taking it and jumping on it. And Dream Week and going to Montego Bay, I think it's great for Montego Bay. They're a growing brand. There are a lot more diverse accommodations for them in Montego Bay. Obviously, more all-inclusives than here in Negril with our independent hotels. And we wish them luck. I want both events to be successful, or both events should be successful. I hope they're both wildly successful, as a matter of fact. Jamaica is transforming minute by minute. The people who think they can wait a year to make that move will be disappointed. Kingston, I think I read that already. Sorry. Michael Brown, a new stadium in Montego Bay would position the city as a premier warm weather sports destination, utilizing existing flight and resort capacity to host North American university teams during the winter. Carlene says, as long as you are moving to Jamaica with this segregationist, sorry, I had to read that a couple of times in my head. Segregationist behavior, you will be okay. Integration should be at the top of your list. If not, don't consider sitting here. Yeah, I agree. Jamaica is a very welcoming place, and I think anybody moving here, no matter where you're coming from in the world, like not only will you be accepted, you'll be very welcomed. Kuya says, I lived in Treasure Beach where there are a lot of expats from all over the world, and Jamaicans treat people the same. Agreed. I remember I'm a returnee, and there aren't really a lot of expats, returnees here. Oh, let's keep going. Sorry, I'm just skipping through. All right, I think I'm going to leave the comments there. We're gonna hop into my third pillar. We're almost on 3 hours. We haven't had a 3-hour one in quite some time here. Okay, third pillar, right? And that is the residential, right? So let's recap here. And so our discussion here today has been on essentially like Montego Bay turning into something brand new, seemingly will be overnight, because and the argument that I'm making is that so many of these major projects that have been in the works, some of them for 10 plus years, will be coming online in 28, 29. Some of them really, most of them 27, 28, but let's say 28, 29 to be safe. And to start with, we went through a lot of the infrastructure projects. So the Montego Bay Perimeter Road, the Long Hill Bypass, the hip strip redevelopment, if you will, Sangsters International Airport refurbishment, and am I missing one? I think those are the major ones. We just went through the hotel investments in 2 ways. We went through the investments of the existing hotels, which have been shut down, I should say, because of Hurricane Melissa. But those smart hoteliers have used this opportunity to reimagine, reinvest their hotels and to bring them up to a much higher standard. We read the article from Sandoz. They invested $200 million across their 3 hotels. That's $200 million US dollars. We just heard about the Catalonia, the formerly the Holiday Inn Sunspree in Montego Bay is now going to become Marriott All Inclusive, which is another amazing brand coming to Jamaica. We also talked about the Sandals Montego Bay, the one in Dead End Road, that is going to be turned into an AC Marriott, another great, amazing brand that's coming to Montego Bay, that's coming to Jamaica. There's already one in Kingston. And then all of the Hyatt hotels that have been shut down, and they're not opening until 2027. And they are being refurbished as we speak. And I can bet your bottom dollar that they are bringing up their product to, and from the article, their service up to, and I'm sure in many cases beyond the expectations of what is happening with the new bills that are coming. And we talked about the new bills that are along the North Coast. And one of the most exciting, I think, is the 33 stories in with the Moon Palace, which is going to be, I think it was 1,200 ultra luxury suites. Let me see if I got that right. Let me go back to my notes real quick. 1,200 luxury suites, which is a $700 million US development. And so those are the first two pillars. And now the third pillar that we're talking about is the residents. These are luxury residents that are coming to Montego Bay. And in some cases, the level of residents that they're going to be at is you just haven't seen here before in Jamaica. And that's my kind of last point that I'm making here. All right. So let's start with, okay. So who was it? Who kept bringing this on? Okay. We're going to bring on, one second. Bring up. Okay. Somebody was asking about Vista. Who was that? All right. So this is Vista and Vista Montego Bay. This is the residence. I'm going to be clicking around here. Oh, let's go. Sorry. Let's go to the map first. All right. You see the map here? How do we zoom in? Oh, that's not helping me. How do we zoom in here? All right. Anyway, you could see it, right? You see it here, right? Oh, there we go. So this is Vista Montego Bay here. See it on the map? This is the hip strip. This is Cliff Boulevard. So I want to make sure that we're all on the same page here. There. All right, let's scroll up. Let's go through it real quick. Welcome to Vista Montego Bay, where luxury is lived and each sunrise unfolds across sea-kissed horizons, perfectly positioned between Harmony Beach and the vibrant hip strip. Vista is not just a residence, it's a lifestyle, a place where inspiration greets you at the door and every day feels beautifully, intentionally lived. All right, some visit investments, smart investment with high yield potential. Vista is not just a place you stay, it's a place you feel, a rhythm in the trees, a story in the sea, a future you can hold. Ocean view residence, custom owner finished interiors, 24-hour doorman, infinity pool, co-working spaces, fitness center, prime location. All right, let's go through luxury living. Let's go through this. Oh, that doesn't work. Gotta get that fixed. Let's go through amenities building. Oh, that doesn't work. Gotta get that fixed, guys. Come on. You want Throp. You got to be ready for prime time here. Let's get this fixed, Vista. All right. That's not working. Let's see what else they got. Let's see some pictures. All right. Residents. Just going through. Resident supports features, laundry room, storage, lockers and bike storage, waste disposal and service corridors, parking lot. Looks beautiful. Elevated stairwell accessibility, secure gated access, rooftop corridors depending on unit placement and layout. Experience Montego Bay where panoramic sea views meet ease of luxury resort living. All right. Amenities and lifestyle. Swimming pool. You got the fitness center, shared social spaces, smart, sustainable living, rooftop lounge areas, panoramic sea views. Cool, cool, cool. Looks awesome. Let's go to the building. Location development. Where Jamaica comes to life at Vista. Montego Bay, you're in the center of it all. The island's natural beauty, vibrant culture, and modern convenience come together just outside your door. A larger vision. I can't tell if these real pictures. I think this left one is real. This middle one, I'm not sure. I could be wrong. Cool. Meet the team behind the view. This is the team doing it. All right, all right. Oh, sorry, my knee is killing me. All right, so anyway, you get the point. That's one. That's one. Let's go to the next one. Let's go to One Reading. Let me see. I think it's important. Let me see if it's on the map here. Okay, no. All right. I'm gonna bring up the map again real quick. So One Reading is another luxury residential development. I'm gonna bring up the map. Can you see the map? Yep. Cool, cool, cool. All right. So One Reading is look at that right there. Boom. This is One Reading right here. So just kind of I'm gonna zoom out a little bit so we can understand where we are. So we got Sanctuary International Airport here where my mouse is. We got and then where's One Reading? Oh my gosh. All right, right here. Sorry. And this is One Reading here. Boom. All right. So now let's go to their website. You can take a look at it. One Reading, where waves whisper stories. Begin your story at One Reading. This is it. This is, you see the architectural rendition. I'm just going to let this video play a little bit. You guys can take a look. Can we play some music? Nope. All right. That's it. You see it on the way to Montego Bay, and it looks very, very beautiful. The construction seems steady, consistent. They're moving day by day. Looks like it's a beautiful, like I'm talking about from my own perspective. Looks very beautiful from the outside in. Obviously, hasn't made it fully to this point, but you can get an idea of what it's going to look like. I'm just scrolling through, just giving you guys an idea of what it looks like there. Simply 20 minutes from Montego Bay Airport. I think it's going to be even closer once that highway is complete. B1 with tranquility. I think this place looks beautiful. Really, really beautiful. Ocean view apartment suites. Yeah, this looks like real luxury. How much they cost? That's what I want to know. Our past sets the stage for a bright future. I guess this is our previous projects that they did. All right, cool. Let's see. Let's go. All right, we went through the whole website. All right, we're going to leave that one there. And then wait, are you seeing me? Sorry, I'm just like looking at the comments now. How much? Good question. How much? I don't know. Hold on, let's go to Vista first. How much? Nah, ain't no prices here. We went through the whole website. All right, you know what? I'm gonna get back to you guys next Sunday. I'm gonna come back with some prices. I'm not seeing any prices here at One Reading either. We went through the whole website. Let's see what. Yeah, I guess I got to fill that out. Not going to fill that out right now. I'm going to do my homework. When I come back, get you guys some prices. All right, let's hop to the last one, which is, of course, the Pinnacle, which we know all too well, hopefully. Hold on. Are you seeing my screen now? Sorry, I'm just reading the comments. Let me know. This is the Pinnacle. I'm not sharing my screen. I don't know what's happening. Are you guys seeing me now? Let me know if you can see my screen now. I'm sharing my screen. Okay, you can see it now. Okay, good. Sorry. All right, so this is the Pinnacle. Not sure what happened there. All right. I will play. I think this is like 1 minute. Let's see. All right, we're gonna play the Pinnacle trailer, and I'm going to land the plane on all of this if I can find it. All right, here we go. 1 minute.
Our intent is to change the landscape of Jamaica, to put us on the map globally as we deserve to be. Our product is far more supreme than I see in other places where they have far less.
So there's 4 towers of the wildlife and birds around the development: the swallowtail, the canary, the hummingbird, and the phoenix. Each tower has its own level of amenities in terms of gym, lounge areas, pools, cabanas, concierge, tennis courts, basketball courts, golf simulators, cigar bars, cafes, restaurants.
In order to stabilize the construction, we drive concrete tiles down into the ground to the tune of, this is 28 stories, 180 feet down below, in order to stabilize the building.
Now, everywhere is developed. So why we don't have other developed country? We should have something like Singapore, Dubai. I will do it first.
I don't know why I'm so small. There we go. That was Pinnacle. You guys get the idea. And so that's probably not even half the story. I probably don't even know half of the developments that are going to Montego Bay, or happening in Montego Bay. These are the ones that I would say that are very close to being finished, and that are going to finish around that same timeline. That's why to any of them in any way. I'm trying to build our understanding of the landscape of Montego Bay and how great it's going to change in just a few short years. Mind you, remember, the first tower of the Pinnacle is finished. The structure, the superstructure is complete at this point. And in May of 2027, people are scheduled to move into that first tower. Right? That's amazing. We've been talking about the Pinnacle, covering them for years at this point, and now we're less than a year away where people are going to be getting their keys and moving into their units. I think that's going to be fantastic, right? And by that time as well, the perimeter road will have been completed, and you will no longer need to make the right coming out of Montego Bay Airport. You're going to make that left and hop on the highway if you choose, right? It's a toll road. I hope people know that. It's a toll road. So it's I hope you kind of see where I'm going and the point that I'm making. And the idea is like, we were having I'll go back to London Throp-X Connect in London last Saturday, and we're having some discussions with a few people about how they felt about certain developments that were happening. And you can kind of see some of it in the discussion here today about how perhaps it could be disenfranchising people, or there is some people may feel as if there's some unfairness to it in some way to local entrepreneurs or to residents. And I understand it. I understand it, right? And the government should be doing this, the government should be doing that, or this person should be doing this and this person should be doing that. And you can feel that way. And I think everybody has the right to feel the way that they want to about Jamaica's development, the direction that Montego Bay is going in. And what I'm doing here and the discussion that we're having today is I am presenting you what's happening. I'm telling you that this is happening. I showed you today, as a matter of fact, that this is happening. Now, what do you do with that information? And that's just an open question. What do you do with that information? How do you use this information, this knowledge to your advantage? And maybe you had no idea about certain aspects of what we talked about today. Maybe you had no idea about any of what we talked about today, and this is new to you. And you may be like, oh, I had no idea that this was happening in Montego Bay. I had no idea that the tourism capital city of Jamaica was moving in this direction so strongly with these billions of US dollars going into it. And those entrepreneurs out there, I encourage you to put your thinking caps on. For those people considering moving to Jamaica, maybe up until this point, you never thought that Jamaica had the standard of living that you are used to in your current home country. And now that you're seeing One Reading, now that you're seeing the Pinnacle, now that you're seeing Vista, you're like, okay, this is meeting my standard. This is meeting my threshold that I'm looking for the lifestyle that I want to live as a working millennial or as a soon-to-be retiree, whatever have you. And so everybody is going to interpret this information in different ways. And as you know, this information is open to every and anybody that has Jamaica's best interests at heart. But of course, I'm openly biased towards the Jamaican diaspora. And I want as many of us to be a part of the direction that Jamaica is heading in. And I'm very optimistic about that. Very, very optimistic about where Jamaica is heading. And there are many, many companies, multinational companies that are also just as optimistic as I am, but they have the resources to capitalize on their optimism. And if you are one of those people or groups of people that does have some extra resources that could be reallocated to opportunities here in Jamaica, I would highly suggest that you consider doing so, because as somebody was saying in the chat, Jamaica is moving not year by year, but minute by minute. It's moving forward. And I think now is a really, really great time to make some serious considerations towards creating opportunity for yourself and for your investment groups, for your family. And I think, like I said, 2028, I think that's when people are really going to get it, because they're going to see it. They're going to feel it, especially people. If you haven't been back, I met a lot of people at Throp-X Connect in London. They haven't been back to Jamaica in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, right? And especially if you're somebody who's from St. James, you're from Hanover, and you're going to go back in 2028, it's going to be like you were in a time capsule. You're in a time warp, right? And then you just come back and you're like, what is this place? It's just not what it used to be, and not what it was when you used to live here or when you grew up here. I feel like that is going to be the experience of a lot of people. They just eyes are just going to be just so wide. What the heck happened here? But you now know in depth. We've been talking about this for over 3 hours at this point. And I hope, not that I was really, I guess I was making a point, but I hope that you kind of got the context that I'm trying to build here in respect to really where Montego Bay is going in a very, very strong way. Let's get to some comments before we close out here. Kato says, the Observer says One Reading has 84 luxury apartments and 16 townhomes. Prices for a one-bedroom start at $365,000. That's 57 million Jamaican dollars, while a three-bedroom townhome begins at 875,000, 138 million Jamaican dollars. I think that's quite reasonable, to be honest. CPW says Carosa Tower 1 and 2-bedroom residence, 370,000. This is Vista, I believe you're talking about, Chris. That is the Reef Tower, 1-bedroom, 789 square feet, 1.5 baths, and a balcony, 400,000 US, 300,000 pounds. Some newer premium listings, larger, are later released. Awesome. Thank you very much for that information, everybody. Reef Tower is 400,000. All right, the Reef Tower, 1-bedroom, 789,000 square feet, balcony, 400,000 US, 300,000 pounds. Same newer premium listings, 750,000 US, 563,000 pounds. Sorry if I'm mumbling there. Trying to read it quickly. Michael Brown, great show. Thanks again. May God continue to bless you and your efforts and improve your island. Thank you. Our island, excuse me. Thank you very much. I hope it's okay for me to answer, although the question wasn't directed to me. But yes, those who have the capital will. We live once. It may be someone's last residence, and it's a lifestyle. Yes, no, that's okay. Thank you for that. Thank you for that comment. All right. I think we're gonna close it out there. This has been great. I knew this was gonna be a good one. Sorry about the internet today, folks. It was pretty annoying. I know it was annoying for you. It was super annoying for me as well. Hopefully that won't happen next week. But hold on. Do we have a live stream this week, this Thursday? No, we don't have a scheduled live stream for this Thursday. Looking to see if we had any guests. We do not have, but we have one. We'll be back here next Thursday. We'll be back here next Thursday for sure. Sorry, next Sunday, excuse me. That will be Sunday, August 2nd. And then we'll be back August 6th as well. The Thursday, we're going to be having a live stream. Yeah, this is great. Thank you, everyone, for coming out. Again, heads up, we are doing Throp-X NYC Connect August 8th. That's Saturday, August 8th at 12 p.m. Mark your calendars. If you're interested in coming, you can go into the description below and click the link in the description, fill out the form, and we're going to get you out the correct information about where we are going to be meeting. And we are going to be at just as a special place as we did in London. We met at the Folly. I forgot to show the Folly. It's a really, really beautiful place. I'm going to show it real quick as we exit out of here. But I just put in the comment section there the doc if you wanna fill it out. If you want to come to Throp-X Connect NYC August 8th. Saturday, 12 p.m. I'm just going to show the Folly real quick because I think it's just such a beautiful venue. So this is it right here. This is where we met up in London on Saturday, the Folly. Shout out to them. As you can see, real beautiful. I want to see if they have our section here where we were. Nope. You get the idea. It was a dope spot. It was a lot of fun. Chris asking me about the beach. All right, Chris, we're going to do the beach. Don't worry. At some point, I'm going to bring it back. Don't worry. I hear you loud and clear, Chris. Loud